Important update about YouTube playlists. Hey everyone. We've received many messages asking why our YouTube playlists aren't showing up. Do we create YouTube playlists? Yes, we absolutely do. So why can't you see them? Honestly, we're not sure. We've been in contact with YouTube support for several months now, but we still haven't received a clear answer or solution. After much discussion, our team has decided to take matters into our own hands. We believe the issue might be related to the number of playlists we've created on a single channel, possibly too many. Our solution? We're launching 2 additional YouTube channels, giving us a total of 3. This way, we can organize our audiobooks better and avoid the playlist visibility issue in the future. This change only affects our YouTube audience. If you're a patron supporter, you can still access all our audiobooks by visiting the collection menu on Patreon. Thanks so much for your time and continued support. Happy listening. So what do you have to say for yourselves? Veldora brushed him off. Gaha, do not worry, me and Felix were just messing around. I nodded, backing him up. Indeed, we were just having a fun, casual spar. Gah. I can't with you two. Seeing as the mood was ruined, I gave Veldora a pat on the back, letting him deal with Rimuru nagging, and then went to check on the spectators. The dungeon itself seemed to be doing okay. I guess that's to be expected from a world system skill though. Donato was frozen in shock. Huh, maybe she hasn't seen a fight like that before? Zijin however seemed to have stars in his eyes. As expected of teacher. I nodded. Credit where credit is due, I'm pretty sure I'd beat him if I had gone at him with the intention to kill. After all, I didn't use most of my abilities since they each have a high chance of killing him. Whether it is my spatial abilities, temporal abilities, gravity abilities, and especially Beelzebub, all could significantly wound him according to Odin. Hollow Purple especially. But he was fun to fight still. I gave Hinata a pat on the shoulder. You still have a ways to go. I commented. Hopefully this only motivates her further rather than breaking her spirit. Though knowing her, I'm sure this will motivate her. Hinata's eyes focused on me. She gave me a determined nod, causing me to smirk. She needs at least that much if she ever wants to become a true hero. Becoming a true hero is a bit different from becoming a true demon lord. Us demon lords only need 10,000 human souls, or the equivalent of sapient monster ones, which is higher due to human souls being stronger in general to monster ones. But true heroes according to Ramaris need to gain the approval of the elemental of light or darkness that blessed them. Whoa. That was a cool fight, commented Ramaris. Of course I could still beat you both in one punch, she said as she began shadowboxing around me. I of course ignored her. Alright, keep training Hinata, I'm going to head back to my territory to dodge Rimaru's nagging. Head over if you want. Hinata nodded again as I teleported back to Azeroth. Maybe I should check on Sapia? It has been a while after all. Maybe she has gotten stronger? I teleported both myself and Raiden to the outpost bordering the Eastern Empire that Sapia is in charge of. Raiden said it was her duty to accompany me when I am doing any work in my official capacity as the ruler of this territory, and it seems she considered me checking on Sapia as that. Raiden liked her new weapon quite a bit. I made sure to transfer the knowledge of a bunch of sword darts that I remember Raiden Shogun performing to her so she can master them. Along with that, she has been training with Adra. Of course she isn't even close to matching him yet, but she has been making a good amount of progress. Once we arrived, I said, Raiden, while I chat with Sapia, can you make sure everything is up to the standard? Yes, master. This outpost hasn't been inspected at all so far, so there is a decent chance that the soldiers have been slacking. Raiden is perfect to put the fear of God in them. Though from what I am sensing, it does seem like everyone has been training. The lycanthropes Sapia brought with her have all gotten a little bit stronger than before. Seeing as on average they were all at least B rank, that is saying a lot. Some of them have reached the realm of A rank while the majority are at B+. Ah. My lord, welcome. I turned towards the voice and was met with a panting Sapia. Maybe I should have notified her I was coming? Oh well. Hello Sapia, I'm just dropping by to check how things are going, and to see if you want to attend the Tempest Founding Festival. Carrion told me he will be coming along with some of his subordinates if you want to meet with them and catch up. I offer. I can always have one of Lalatina's subordinates cover for Sapia. After all, everyone wants some time off eventually, even the hardworking Magin of the Cardinal world. Yes my lord. It has been quite some time since I have spoken to Albus and Phobio. I nodded. I'll have someone pick you up when it is time for the festival. I'll also have someone cover for you here. She bowed. Thank you. It's no problem. Now what have you been up to here, Raiden? Raiden looked across from her. The tiger was getting into her combat stance. Sapia approached her, asking for a spar. She said she wished to see how much she had grown. A spar against her master would not show much, seeing as it is difficult to tell one's progress against an overwhelmingly superior opponent. This spar will be helpful for her as well. She will get the chance to test out some of the arts her master had shared with her on an opponent other than Adra. She hasn't had the chance to spar with Siko at all since she has been training her swordsmanship up to par. Seeing as Supia was ready, she summoned her new blade and turned into lightning, appearing in front of Supia with her blade aimed at her neck. I watched as Raiden and Supia continued to clash with each other. They've been fighting for about 30 minutes now. Normally such a fight would be completely one-sided in Raiden's favor. Supia has grown stronger but nowhere near strong enough to take on my maid. Raiden is someone who could casually beat her former boss, Carrion after all. Currently Raiden was relying solely on her swordsmanship to face Supia, making this battle far closer than it normally would be. Still, it is quite fun seeing Raiden progress at a visible rate. It seems I enjoy watching and causing people to grow. That's probably why I even offered to train Hinata in the first place, even after our rocky start. I continue to observe as Raiden uses Blade Storm, an art that involves rapidly sheathing and unsheathing her blade, each time firing a spherical blade storm at her opponent. She is also capable of directly manifesting the blade storm at her opponent's location, but likely chose not to, seeing as this is a simple spar. Supia used the unique skill I granted her, Amplifier, to directly punch the blade storms coming for her. Normally such a thing would be incredibly difficult, but Supia is also capable of manipulating lightning to a certain extent, and since Raiden does not possess an ultimate skill, her authority over lightning can be challenged. Still, Supia wasn't able to deal with them, also she jumped back. Of course Raiden didn't let her as she transformed into lightning and appeared behind Supia in the blink of an eye, kicking her into the dirt. Well, that seems to be enough. I clapped my hands, getting their attention. Alright, that's enough now, you two. Supia, you now know where to improve, same with you, Raiden. They both nodded. Good, then Raiden, why don't you prepare something for the three of us to eat before we head back? Raiden nodded before putting her blade into its special dimension located inside of her body. I stretched slightly as Raiden and I appeared in my bedroom. Raiden took a look around curiously before a look of realization came to her face. It seems she realized why I teleported us to my room. I haven't had as much time to spend one-on-one with my maid, so I thought to rectify that. Did you wish for me to serve you, master? Raiden asked with a growing blush on her face. In fact, I could hear her beginning to pant. It seems I wasn't the only one who wanted some one-on-one time. I smirked. Of course. I sat down on my bed, legs spread wide as Raiden kneeled down in front of me. Raiden quickly removed my pants while a full-form blush formed on her face. She immediately dove in, pulling my cock out and then inhaling while moaning out. Raiden and her scent fetish. She gave the tip a long kiss before licking her way down to the base as her adoring eyes stared up at me. She continued to service me for a few minutes before she opened her mouth wide and began throating me like a champ. It seems all that experience has been good for something. Raiden slobbered noisily on my dick as she pushed it further and further down her throat before eventually reaching the base. I took this time to shift slightly so I could move my feet under Raiden's skirt. I lifted my leg slightly so I could play with her while she gave me a blowjob. I made sure to use my pleasure magic to enhance her pleasure as much as I could. After all, sex is generally about both partners' pleasure, not just one, no matter how much Raiden enjoys serving me. I could feel how soaked she was through her panties. I slightly shifted her panties to the side and began to toy with her, causing Raiden to moan into my cock, which only served to increase my pleasure further. Raiden's eyes began to flutter as she gurgled on my cock. My toes were completely soaked in Raiden's juices at this point. Eventually Raiden pulled back and looked up at me. Do you wish for me to use my breasts to please you, master? She said seductively. I shouldn't have to ask you, should I, my maid? Raiden only got wetter hearing my response. She really loves leaning into her whole maid thing. Being ordered to serve me brings her more pleasure. Ah. My apologies, master. She moaned as she took off the upper part of her maid uniform, leaving her in her bra. Her delicious memories are always a sight to see. She ripped off her bra, and then leaked some of her saliva into the valley of her breasts before she surrounded my dick with them. She quickly began to please me with her breasts while using her cute little tongue to lick the tip. I continued to play with her lower hole throughout this entire process, bringing her to orgasm multiple times thanks to the help of my pleasure magic. Otherwise simple teasing would be nowhere near enough to bring Raiden to climax. I reached towards her head and began caressing her, something Raiden only leaned into. Raiden, swallow it all. I order as I begin to feel my own release coming. It doesn't take long for me to come straight down Raiden's throat, much to Raiden's audible enjoyment. Raiden slowly pulled back. Please use me, master. You don't need to tell me twice. Lay down on the bed, it's about time I explore your body. I all but growled out. Raiden's pants became more audible as she crawled onto the bed. Once she was on it, she laid down, her back towards the mattress. Please do what you want with me. She moaned out. I didn't bother responding, my hands already touching and caressing her all over. From her beautifully thick thighs, to her slim waist, her taut tummy, and then finally her large breasts. I lightly pinched her engorged nipples, causing Raiden to moan out in rapture. I leaned forward, taking one of her pink nipples into my mouth as my other hand ventured further down south, between Raiden's thighs. I could feel Raiden's juices stained across her thighs, as little droplets continued to leak down her thighs. Safe to say she was flooded. I lightly pinched her cute little clit before slowly sliding one of my fingers into her tight little snatch. Ah! I looked up slightly to see Raiden's face. She was a mess, some drool leaking from the side of her mouth, her eyes hazy, even her tongue was hanging out slightly. Fucking pleasure, magic man. I ignored her moaning and continued having my way with her body, slowly increasing the amount of fingers inside of her. I groped her breast, my fingers sinking into her fleshy mounds of fat. I'm glad she has far larger breasts than her namesake. I continued to finger her until I felt Raiden's inner walls tighten up on my fingers as she came on my fingers. I could feel that she had drenched the sheets. I pulled my finger out, much to Raiden's sadness. Now that we are done with the foreplay, it's time for the next step. Raiden's hazy eyes brightened slightly as she spread her legs, giving me a clear view of her dripping entrance. Her pristine nether lips slightly twitching, eager for more pleasure. I lined myself up with her dripping vagina and then thrusted in. Her legs immediately locked behind me. Yesh. I've been wanting fish. Raiden moaned out. Then I guess I should have pounded you sooner. It's not like I haven't been fucking Raiden on the regular, it seems my maid is just extremely needy. Raiden extended her arms upwards, I granted her request and leaned forward. Once I was in range, Raiden wrapped her arms around my back and then pulled me in for a kiss. We continued to swap spit as I kept up my pace for a couple minutes before I pulled back. Why don't we switch positions now? I asked. Raiden looked at me, her eyes still half-lidded. Whatever you want, I pried Raiden's locked legs off of me and then spun her around for some doggy style. I groped her thick buttocks and then thrusted back in. MMMH. More master. This slutty maid. I still listened to her request like the generous master I am. I leaned forward and grabbed both of her breasts. I could feel her nipples scrape against my palm as I continued to maul her tits, much to Raiden's verbal enjoyment. I felt her sex tighten as Raiden howled. Yesh. Coming already, my maid? I teased. Shall we, master? So good. I let go of her right breast and put my hand in her gaping mouth. Raiden immediately began licking my fingers all over, eager for any sort of taste of me. From all my sexual encounters I could tell this was prime slut behavior. But still, she's my slut. I groaned as I finally unloaded into Raiden's welcoming depths, not even bothering asking for permission. Raiden squealed into my hand, her tongue licking my fingers all over in a frenzy. Once I was done unloading inside of her, I spun Raiden around, her beautiful face stuck in a hijau of epic proportions. I shifted over slightly and then slapped my cock onto her forehead, causing Raiden's nostrils to subconsciously flare. Get to work on cleaning me up, my maid. That was enough to awaken whatever leftover consciousness there was as Raiden began trying to lick at my cock, no matter how futile the effort was, as my dick was too far for her to reach with her tongue. Ah, this desperation was great. Chapter 94, Plans and Festivals. Ecchi looked towards his remaining friends who were sitting in front of him. There was Laplace, and Tyr. And then standing behind him was Cagley. Footman and Clayman's loss could still clearly be felt amongst them. Rimuru would soon be coming to pick up his students. He would likely come up with an excuse for them to continue their education in Tempest due to his mistrust of him. Though Ecchi wasn't too put off by that, those kids weren't all that special outside of their elemental blessings, and while he was loath to give them up, it was worth it. All things considered, each of those kids were fairly strong, around the A rank, but he could let go of them if it meant regaining some of Rimuru's trust. The less a demon lord considers him an enemy, the better. It will only make his dream harder to achieve after all. Conflict is bound to happen between him and Rimuru, but it was in his best interest to delay it as much as possible. Still, he will have to shut down one of his businesses, summoning otherworlders in secret, primarily for the demon lord Leon. Rimuru has been very serious about outlawing summoning otherworlders, so it's best to nip that connection in the bud. Ecchi still isn't quite sure why the Platinum Saber needs so many otherworlders, especially since he specifically asked for children. After all, children aren't usually summoned with unique skills, causing them to eventually die due to their bodies not being able to handle the raw power of another worlder. A unique skill could take on that extra energy. But thanks to Rimuru, he has come to the realization that he may be turning those children into powerful soldiers. Before, he didn't think it was possible to save an otherworlder who did not have a unique skill, but Rimuru had proved him wrong. So what if Demon Lord Leon was also capable of summoning elementals and having them bless the children he summons? With some training, he would then build up quite a powerful force with the potential for growth. Some might even reach the realm of Shizu Sensei and beyond. Quite the sneaky demon lord should that be the case. Using him for the hard work and reaping the benefits. Maybe he can use that though. He can have Leon be informed that the reason for cutting off their deal was due to Rimuru. Some extra conflict between demon lords might give them more opportunities. Yes, he will have Kagli inform him during the festival. Perhaps Leon will even show up during the attack, causing even more chaos. It was unlikely, but a man can dream. So boss, you were saying that you wanted to use this festival to get rid of some people? He looked to Laplace and nodded. Yes, I have already informed you that Mariabelle plans to use the Chaos Dragon in order to disrupt the festival and halt Tempest's progress. It was quite amusing that Mariabelle still thought he was under her control. She truly had a bloated opinion of her own abilities. As long as some important guests were injured or killed, it would significantly disrupt Tempest's plan to create peace with humanity. Yuki did not believe it was possible for Rimuru to prevent all casualties even if the demon lord Felix assisted. There were just some things outside of the realm of possibility. The Chaos Dragon is a foe that even a hero failed to vanquish. Quite ironic, seeing as the result of that failure was sitting in front of him in Laplace. Though he could understand why, even in the chaotic state it is in right now, the sheer power it radiated was unimaginable. Power that he would need to acquire for his dream. But that can wait. So who do you want gone then? Laplace asked. He smirked. Hinata Sakaguchi. Both Laplace and Tier's eyes widened. For real, boss? Tier shouted. Indeed. I have always planned to get rid of her at some point. She is an obstacle to our goals. I was hoping she and Rimuru would take care of each other, but it seems they somehow managed to make peace. Now we must take matters into our own hands. Laplace's unique skill, Falsifier, was ideal for such operations, not to mention his other unique skill, Seer, may help warn him of threats as well. It was quite easy to understand how Laplace's former identity used to be a hero, the hero of the elves, Sarian. He was easily the most powerful of the moderate Harlequin Alliance, a group that contained the former demon lord Clayman. With the Chaos Dragon rampaging throughout Tempest, Laplace will be able to take Hinata off guard and finish her off. Both demon lords present should be busy with other things at the time. They would have no reason to suspect someone as renowned as Hinata Sakaguchi would need assistance. He was even willing to give Laplace some insurance to make sure he completes his task successfully. I see. So you want me to use my skill to hide myself until the perfect opportunity presents itself? Laplace questioned. Exactly. Yuki nodded. Kagli took this chance to speak up. Ideally, it would be best if you take care of her as soon as possible so no one has the chance to meet up with her. That way you will only have to deal with Hinata rather than Hinata and whatever reinforcements she may have. Indeed, as Kagli said, take care of her as soon as you can. Rimuru's forces are formidable, do not underestimate them. Laplace nodded. Got it, boss. I am willing to give you a weapon imbued with my own anti-skill as well as a device that was generously provided by Damrata that will allow you to teleport to an area of your choosing, no matter the barriers surrounding you. Damrata had supplied him with such an artifact in order for him to have some sort of insurance for this festival, so that he could get away should the worst happen. Damrata had been incredibly confident that it would be capable of breaching any sort of barrier, but he would not share where he got the artifact from. All he said was that a being incredibly proficient in spatial manipulation had imbued the artifact with such an effect. In fact, he had a suspicion of his own as to who was capable of creating such an artifact. Still, Yuki did not push him. Damrata had his implicit trust. So while Damrata's gesture was acknowledged and appreciated, it was ultimately unneeded. He would rather use such a valuable artifact to get rid of the thorn that is Hinata Sakaguchi. A weapon? Laplace asked curiously. Yuki nodded. Indeed, a weapon made out of my bones. Some time ago I had one of my arms cut off and then regenerated. The cut-off arm was then turned into a weapon that contained my anti-skill attribute. Laplace's eyes widened. Whoa. That's hardcore, boss. Yuki ignored Laplace and turned to Kagli. I will be leaving you in charge of Cerberus while I am busy with other matters. She nodded. Got it, boss. Cerberus was an incredibly valuable resource. It was a criminal organization that dominated the underworld in the Eastern Empire. It was structured with him at the head, and then right below him was Damrata of gold, Misha of women, and Vega of power. Each was useful in their own right. Damrata with his connections, Misha with her intel gathering, and Vega for his sheer power, even if his idiocy did get on his nerves on occasion. But he knew he could keep Vega in line. His motto was simple: follow the powerful. He had a very caveman-like mentality. Yuki was not sure if that was due to the experiments he did on him or if he was just always like that. Yuki shook his head. Now was not the time to think of those things. Make sure you are all ready for your job, Laplace. He ended the meeting. As he and Kagli were making their way to his office in the Free Guild headquarters, he heard her ask, Are you sure this is a wise move? Going in person is incredibly risky seeing as that slime already suspects you. He waved her off. Don't worry, Kagle. Rimuru won't make a move until he is sure that I am the man who was responsible for the attack on his nation. Kagle nodded. Very well. Even if Rimuru did decide to attack, he was confident in his abilities. After all, as long as he wielded his abilities right, he was unbeatable. Chapter 95, Part 2. Alright Sukuna, I'm going to be having a private conversation with Arcuaid now. Sukuna has been my ever-present shadow when he doesn't have other duties. Apparently he has gotten it in his head that he is my bodyguard along with Suko, so I don't have to deal with any insignificant threats on my own. I don't really mind, having someone who can easily take care of any threats to my person can only be useful. They give me my privacy when I ask for it as well. Very well, my lord, I will be waiting for you outside. He responded. I nodded and then knocked on the door to Arcuaid's office. The door opened, revealing my beautiful white-haired demon. You do not need to knock, my lord. I shrugged my shoulders. It's polite to do so, who knows if you're in the middle of doing something important when I show up. That is very thoughtful of you, however nothing is more important than you, my lord. Gah. Critical hit. Who taught these primordials how to do that? Arcuaid looked completely clueless, so maybe she casually said that? If so, that's an even deeper critical hit. Still, I came here to talk with Arcuaid, it's best not to get distracted right now. Let's talk inside. Arcuaid nods. Very well. I noticed Arcuaid give Sukuna a look before they mutually nodded to each other. Have they come to some sort of hidden understanding? Well, it's good that they are getting along at least. When I entered her office, I noticed one of Arcuaid's dark elf assistants who promptly left after getting a look from Arcuaid. It's good that she has been making use of the dark elves. Arcuaid took a seat on one of the love seats while I sat across from her on another love seat. Arcuaid's office is rather large, not quite as large as the one I inherited from Clayman, but Arcuaid has enough room for a lounge of sorts, along with a cabinet of alcohol in case she feels like relaxing a bit. So what did you wish to speak to me about, my lord? Oh, it isn't anything big, I was just making sure that you are going to be attending the Tempest Founding Festival. Arcuaid nodded like it was obvious. Of course, there are many useful connections to be made. I can introduce all those other so-called monarchs to your greatness. I choose to ignore the last part. I see. Arcuaid told me a few days ago that she has already transported all the alcohol we will be supplying to Tempest as well, so I don't need to worry about that. Then I also plan to take Suko, Raiden, and Sapia with us. I'll probably end up taking most if not all of my direct subordinates. Though that may leave this territory undefended. Ah, Sapia is that tiger you have stationed at the border outpost, no? I nod in response. Arcuaid tucked her hair behind her ear as she said, I see, but you need not worry about that, my lord. The subordinates you have gathered are more than enough to ward off the riffraff that may attempt to take advantage of your absence. She might be right. I'll have 2 demon dukes along with basically a legion of demons and dragons. That's a force I don't see many capable of defeating. Besides, Adelman will still be stationed here since he claimed to not be interested in the festival and would rather protect my territory. A hard worker that won, and then he also has Will and Albert to assist him and his undead legion. Then there is Sukuna as well. I haven't completely decided if I want to bring him and have him be known to the general public or not. Though I'm leaning towards bringing him, after all he is my subordinate now, he might as well enjoy life a little bit. He's practically a different person compared to the previous Sukuna. Not to mention the Magins that have joined under my employ thanks to Arcuaid incorporating those ideas I gave her a while back. Along with that I can quickly teleport back should I need to. I think it's safe to say my territory is safe. I see your point. Very well then. Arcuaid nodded. While I'm here I might as well hear about how Arcuaid is actually running my territory since I don't know all that much about what she has been doing. I only know bits and pieces. I really am just throwing all my work onto Arcuaid, huh? Oh well, she volunteered, and I'm a demon lord, why should I have to do work? I doubt any of the other demon lords do all that much work either. Guy probably just lazes about all day, Milim constantly tries to escape from phrase nagging, Ramari spugs us all day. I'm not too sure about Dagrul though, from what I heard Dino just lounges about all day. According to Hinata, Luminous does absolutely nothing. I also don't really do any work. I think Rimuru is the only one who actively does work, so he's clearly doing something wrong, though I guess it shows when comparing Tempest's success to any of the other demon lords' territories. The only one that even comes close is Luminous, but that's less due to her own efforts and more due to her subordinates' efforts. In fact, from what I've heard, Luminous is a bona fide NEET. She's really living the good life. While I'm here, could you explain to me how you are running the government? I sure as hell know it isn't a democracy. Arcuaid nodded. Very well, my lord. Perhaps you can offer some more advice as well. I am sure it will prove useful. Ah, she's probably basing that on my idea for increasing military recruitment. Though I basically just copied fictional works from my past life. Would you like me to introduce you to some of the people that are in charge of governance? I'm assuming that those demons that were with Arcuaid that day are some sort of officials. Then there is Lalatina in charge of my intelligence agency, and Megaman is the supreme commander of the military. Moss also helps Arcuaid out with her duties mostly since he can be in multiple places at once. And then Vron basically serves as Lalatina's butler as he always has. That guy has an absurd amount of experience in being a butler. He has been serving Lalatina as her butler for thousands of years. But I still haven't met a lot of the people helping in the governance of my territory. You need more than just a couple people to successfully run a territory after all. That would be acceptable. I respond. I could sense Arcuaid sending multiple thought communications. Moments later I sensed multiple beings arriving just outside the door to Arcuaid's office. Ah, it seems Sakuna is confronting them. Probably since they showed up all of a sudden. I should take care of that. No need to worry, Sakuna. These are just some people Arcuaid is going to introduce me to. Ah. Very well, my lord. I apologize for my impudence. It's fine, Sakuna, you were just doing your job. He really is like a Diablo 2.0. Arcuaid then waved her hand, opening the door. Do not keep our lord waiting, she said, her voice cold. Chapter 96, Part 3. Hearing Arcuaid's words, all the accompanying demons lowered their heads and quickly entered. It seems she mostly only has some other demons helping her on the territory. I don't blame her, their loyalty is far easier to guarantee, and they are extremely competent. I could spot those 3 demons from that day in the group along with a few others I haven't had the chance to actually meet after naming them. Lalatina, Megaman and Moss weren't present, but that's expected. All the demons greeted me with a bow. You don't need to bow. Thankfully they all listen and straighten themselves. These are all the demons in charge of monitoring and enforcing your will upon your territory, my lord. Arcuaid commented. I gave her a nod. Arcuaid was basically at the head of command excluding Lalatina and Megaman. Arcuaid, Lalatina and Megaman are all right under me, though they each have their own departments they oversee. Arcuaid along with monitoring everything is also somewhat involved with the Foreign Affairs Department which has Moss at the head. Lalatina and Megaman each have their own roles as well. These guys though. I had no clue what they do. I really am a negligent ruler, huh? Arcuaid gestured to the 3 demons I've already met. They are part of the Department of Defense, they work directly under Megaman. I nodded in understanding. They are part of the Department of Internal Affairs. They supervise local governments like villages scattered about your territory. I see, it's good that those villages aren't being given free rein. Though they do pay a tax in return for my protection. Being under the rule of a demon lord is protection on its own after all. Arcuaid then pointed to a group of demons from Megaman's lineage. They make sure everyone is following the laws we have in place. It makes sense that Megaman's battle junkie lineage is in charge of that. And then there is the Department of Defense which Megaman is in charge of and the Department of Intelligence which Lalatina is in charge of. Yeah, I already know what those 2 get up to so you can skip over their departments. Arcuaid nodded. Very well. Arcuaid pointed to a more bulky demon. He is in charge of the Department of Infrastructure. Ah, so he is the one who is building and expanding everything. Good to know. She then pointed to a lone figure standing in the corner of the room. And then agriculture is being directed by her. I gave the demon a nod. Very well. Thank you for introducing me, Arcuaid. Whatever you wish for I will do, my lord. I shook my head in exasperation. I looked to the side to see my date for the evening. I had promised Ingvild a date a little while back and I am now holding up to that deal. I have neglected Ingvild far too much since she usually just hangs out in my territory. According to Glenda, she doesn't want to seek me out since she doesn't want to bother me. She really is a kind girl. But life is cruel after all. She was basically enslaved and forced to do someone else's dirty work. That thought only made me more determined to seek out strength. In the end, strength is what matters. No one can force you to do something against your will if you are stronger. Morals and rules are determined by who is stronger. After all, look at the demon lords. They each have territories where they are basically worshipped as gods. Luminous is literally worshipped as a god. Strength is all that matters in the end, though I don't want to lose myself in the pursuit of it. But I always have Odin to count on to keep me sane. I swear I could almost feel Odin smile happily. Odin will always be there for the master. I know you will, thanks Odin. It's crazy to think that she has been with me basically my entire journey as a demon. At first as just the extra skill, Sage, then the unique skill, Cursed Sage, and then finally her current self. Having a partner isn't too bad. Ah. Can we go try that? I heard Ingvild ask in an excited tone. I looked towards what she was pointing at. It seems she wants to try a burger. Rimuru managed to recreate a bunch of food items from Earth in Tempest, along with the stuff I got him from the Jujutsukaisen world. He has had a relatively easy time. Something I have benefited from as Arcuaid and Raiden can easily replicate them with my knowledge and work on spreading them throughout my territory. Yeah, sure, we can check it out. Ingvild gave me an excited smile before leading me towards the stand. It's nice to see that she can take joy in even the smallest of things, or sad depending on how you look at it. Ah. Welcome Lord Felix. I gave the goblin manning the stand a nod. Rimuru has all sorts of stands and shops all around Tempest, partly in preparation for the festival and partly because he wants the residents of Tempest to have easy access to good food. He really does spoil them. And hello to you too, miss, said the goblin. Ingvild. She beamed. The goblin nodded with a smile. Ingvild then. Hee. I can't wait to see Rimuru's reaction to seeing Ingvild Leviathan. Hearing about fictional characters being real is one thing, but seeing them in person is another. Ingvild and I quickly gave our orders. I pointed to a couple of benches on the side. Why don't we wait over there? Ingvild nodded. Yes. What an excitable girl. Once we took our seats, I decided to ask Ingvild about what she's been up to. I know bits and pieces but not everything. So have you enjoyed your stay in my territory so far? Yes. Everyone is so nice. Siko occasionally comes by to play her violin while I sing. Huh, I didn't know that. Well, good on them. Ingvild continued on. Raiden comes to listen to me sing. That's probably her dragon tamer abilities at work. Arcuaid makes sure I have everything I need. Lalatina occasionally stops by along with Megaman. Well, it doesn't really surprise me that those three don't care all that much. They don't strike me as the type to make casual friends. What about the dragons? I'm sure they would enjoy your music. I comment. Ingvild nodded. Yes, I sing for them from time to time. Apparently it helps in their training according to Brunga. Interesting. Other than that I just train. I looked at her in confusion. Train? She nodded. Strength is something that is always useful in this world. Whether it is to defend yourself or otherwise. If something bad happens, I'd like to be able to help my friends, and having strength helps me achieve that. Huh, well, she's wiser than I thought. That's a good way to think. Though you are fairly strong already. I'd put her at around Kurami's level, and Kurami has only grown stronger and stronger since I first named her. Ingvild's unique skill Kraken is also incredibly powerful if used right. Everyone has been growing stronger. Siko and Raiden are beginning to approach the raw energy levels of Arcuaid, Megaman and Lalatina as well. They are still a ways off, but they are getting there. Ingvild nodded. Indeed, I'm stronger than I ever imagined possible. She clenched her fists. But I still feel like I need to do more. I need to repay everyone's generosity. Ah, so that's what this is about. Haha, there's no need for that. But if you are that determined, then just being in my territory is already helping. People on your level aren't as common as you think. You are capable of fending off most threats as you are now. Ingvild didn't look convinced. Really? I nodded. As you are now, you are stronger than the ex-demon lords Carrion, Frey, and Clayman. Ingvild's eyes widened slightly. Really? Demon lords are considered big shots to those who don't know that the strength of each demon lord varies a large amount when compared to each other. Yup. Though don't let that get to your head. Those three are pretty weak compared to the true demon lords, but Ingvild doesn't need to know that. Ingvild and I continued to chat while we waited for our burgers to finish being cooked. It didn't take long before we each had our food in hand. I ended up getting a burger with 2 patties, cheese, lettuce, and some grilled onion. Thankfully most of the base crops from Earth also exist in this world or can be replicated with the right knowledge, so this tastes just like home. Ingvild moaned out. This is incredibly good. I ignored her erotic moan and nodded. Yup, one thing Rimuru takes super seriously is the quality of food. That guy does not mess around. I have not heard much about this Rimuru, but if he is your friend and he has done all this, he sounds like a wonderful individual. Ingvild commented. Yup, look around. He's made a successful country where monsters can be happy and don't have to live with a constant threat to their survival. When you think about it like that, Rimuru really has done something quite grand. Even if he had knowledge from his past life and a supercomputer in his head. I haven't really done much to change the world, and I'm fine with that. Rimuru saw something wrong with this world and wanted to change it, where I have adapted and embraced this new world. This is all in preparation for the festival, right? Ingvild asked. I nodded in response. Yup, normally you wouldn't see nearly as many food stalls or games all around. You are planning to attend, right? Of course, you asked me to after all. I'm most looking forward to the concert. Haha, Well, I hate to burst your bubble, but I'm fairly certain that Rimuru just used a bunch of music from our previous lives as reference. I wouldn't be surprised if I heard an anime opening or two. That will also be quite enjoyable to listen to. I nodded along. Indeed, from what I've heard they have all been practicing for this performance for a long time. Ingvald nodded. Then I'm sure their efforts will bear fruit. Chapter 97, Part 4. I looked into the mirror to make sure I was dressed well. We're all about to leave to attend the Tempest Founding Festival. The festival hasn't officially started yet, but we decided to head over a day or so early. There wasn't any real reason for us to be all dressed up when the festival hadn't really started yet, but I felt like having everyone dress up. So they followed my orders. Being a tyrant rules. These are the clothes we will be wearing when attending the formal events for the festival anyways, so it's probably a good idea to make sure everything looks good. If something is wrong, then Shuna can quickly fix the clothing up. Instead of my classic Daemon Lord attire, I was dressed in a fancy black blazer with a dark blue dress shirt underneath with some black pants. And I look damn good. Hey, I'm sure I'll charm all those princesses, that is if they aren't shit scared of me. They'll probably be scared of me. I heard a knock on the door. Come in, Raiden. The door opened to reveal my maid, who was dressed in a bit of a different outfit than usual. Rather than her usual maid uniform she dresses in this time, she is in a slightly revealing dress. She was in a red dress, with a bit of cleavage to show. A truly sexy look. Mhaha, all those monarchs are going to be jealous. She originally wanted to attend as my maid, but I convinced her to wear a dress and just enjoy herself. That girl is far too serious with her maidly duties. You look wonderful, Raiden. I complimented. She blushed slightly. You as well, Master. I tried to get her to not call me Master tonight, but she was adamant. Oh well, at least my main goal was achieved. Is everyone ready? I asked. I was planning to bring Siko, Raiden, Arcuaid, Megaman, Lalatina, Kurami, Sukuna, Glenda, and Sapia. Basically all of my direct subordinates and then some. It shouldn't be too difficult to manage them all. Most of them know not to get in trouble and I trust them to not cause problems. Yes, everyone is prepared to go to the festival. We are just waiting for Lady Milim, Lady Frey, and Lord Carrion to arrive. That's right, Milim and by extension Frey are going to be coming with us along with Carrion, who is also going to bring some subordinates. Midraei and Ark will be showing up later. According to Milim, they are in the midst of training. Midraei has been extremely intense according to Milim, even she is feeling bad for some of the Dragon Faithful. They should be here soon, so tell everyone to be ready to leave. I ordered. Raiden bowed. Very well, Master. It didn't take me long to finish getting ready. Once I was done, I went outside where we were all gathered up. You look wonderful, my lord. I turned to the voice and was met with Sukuna. You as well, Sukuna. I responded. He was dressed pretty much the same, in his butler outfit. He insisted that this was his favorite outfit to wear and I didn't see a point to contest. I'm sure he will enjoy himself plenty. I am curious about how he and Diablo will react to each other. Ah. Felix-sama. I turned to Siko, who was pouting at not having my attention. Siko was dressed in a purple suit as she wanted to attend as my secretary, not something I had an issue with as she isn't as much of a workaholic as Raiden. Siko knows when to take some time off. You look good, Siko. Ah. Thank you. She responded in an excited tone. I'll talk to you later, okay? I want to see how everyone is dressed tonight. Siko pouted but relented. I moved on to Kurami, who was sitting on one of the love seats in the corner of the room. She was dressed in a beautiful black dress with a side slit. She was pouting at me though, since I told her she has to be in her humanoid form for the majority of the festival. Stop pouting, Kurami, you'll be able to have much more fun in your humanoid form. But I want to be on your shoulder. She crossed her arms and pouted even more. Deal with it for a little bit, maybe once the festival has begun I'll let you do what you wish. Kurami smiled victoriously. Yes. Thank you, Master. I rolled my eyes. Yeah. Next was the demonist Rio, who were waiting for me if their expectant looks were anything to go by. Once I approached them, Arcuaid took the lead. You look wonderful, my lord. I gave her an appreciative once-over. You as well, Arcuaid. She was dressed in a white dress with a side slit and some cleavage to show. Man, these girls were really going all out. Flaunting the goods, you could say. I didn't really mind, I wasn't insecure after all. In fact, it will be quite amusing to see how everyone else reacts. I'm looking forward to the jealous gazes of those other monarchs. No matter their fear of me as a demon lord, the power of Horny transcends all. Hee, what about me, Master? I turned to the seductive voice. You look wonderful as well, Lalatina. She was dressed in a formal black dress with a V-neck. Hee, Master praised me. I went on to ignore her and turned to Megaman, who was dressed way differently from usual. Instead of her usual black military coat, formal white shirt, and tie, she was in a far more feminine outfit, Her normal outfit could be considered her delinquent garbs. The blush on her face was adorable. Even a primordial can be out of their element on occasion. You look good, Megaman, different from usual but good. Thanks. She regained her boisterous demeanor midway through. Chapter 98, Part 5. I gave her a pat on the shoulder and moved on to Glenda and Ingvild. Both who were dressed a bit more conservatively compared to others. Lord Felix. Glenda intoned. Ingvild just gave me a wave. Hello you two, you both look good. Thanks. Said Ingvild with a giddy smile on her face. Glenda nodded apprehensively. Hey, it seems she is still terrified of me. I don't really blame her. I gave them a goodbye and moved on to the last person, Sapia, who was messing with the collar of her outfit. Gah. Stupid tight collar. Having some trouble there, Sapia? She jumped up in surprise. Gah. Lord Felix. Hey, I caught you by surprise. You can unbutton your collar if you want to, we don't have to be super formal. She breathed a sigh of relief and unbuttoned the collar. Thanks. I shook my head. No problem. It was at this moment that I sensed Milim and Frey arrived. It seems Milim and Frey are finally here, I announced. Of course I modified the barriers inside and around my castle so that Milim could directly teleport in. I have arrived, Felix. I turned to the voice and was met with a proudly posing Milim, who was surprisingly dressed appropriately for the occasion. She looked quite cute, and the mature-looking Frey next to her offered a nice contrast. You look good today, Milim. And you look beautiful as well, Frey. I complimented. Milim puffed her non-existent chest out proudly while Frey just gave me a seductive smile. You look quite alluring as well, Lord Felix. Ah, I am technically above her in station now, huh? No need to call my name with any formalities, Frey. Frey nodded. Very well, Felix. At least someone listens to me when I tell them that. Hey, Felix. Pay attention to me. I looked towards the pouting Milim. Yes, Milim. Milim's pout only intensified as she turned her head away. Humphrey. What a drama queen. Ah, there's Carrion. It seems he brought only 2 subordinates with him, Albus, that snake, and that leopard. Boss. I turned to the voice and was met with a well-dressed Carrion with his 2 subordinates in tow. I gave him a nod. Carrion. The unique skill, suppressor, has been analyzed. Ah, I haven't had a chance to analyze Albus' unique skill, huh? The last time I saw her I wasn't able to directly copy skills like I can now. It's a solid skill, it has thought acceleration, spatial motion, and spatial suppressor which puts the surrounding space under the user's control. I can already do that with our Ouroboros, but I'm not going to say no to a free skill. Sapia gave me a look, seemingly wanting to ask if she can go hang out with her former co-workers. I gave her a nod, causing a happy grin to spread on her face. While those 3 were catching up, Carrion and I caught up. I haven't directly seen him ever since he officially swore his loyalty to me after all, though we have sent some subordinates back and forth along with using thought communication. You've gotten a bit stronger, huh, Carrion? Gaha, and yet I still feel like a drop in the ocean compared to you. He said boisterously. I rolled my eyes. You need more than just training if you even want to approach my level. Hey, I can see that. Wanna have a spar later, boss? Asked Carrion. If he keeps facing me, someone who is a lot stronger than him, he won't be able to improve nearly as much. Tell you what, you can fight against one of my direct subordinates. You will probably learn far more from a fight with her than with me. I think Carrion facing Raiden would be good for both parties. Raiden is far stronger overall, but she can practice her swordsmanship and Carrion can use the fights to grow. Him being stronger only helps me after all, so no reason to prevent his growth. Alright, boss, you're the strong one, so I'll listen to you. Ah, lycanthropes are so simple, I like that about them. Just be stronger than them and they will do whatever you tell them. I looked around, it seems we're all ready. Alright, everyone ready then? Once I got nods from everyone, I snapped my fingers, teleporting all of us to Tempest. This time I teleported all of us directly into Rimmeru's office, so it was a bit crowded. Gah. Felix. Rimmeru shouted. Sup, we all came a bit early for the festival. The festival itself was going to go on for a week or so it isn't a big deal that we came a few hours early. You didn't have to teleport directly to my office though. I can already sense Shuna on her way due to all the strong auras that appeared. Ah, oops. Sorry about that. I apologized. Rimmeru sighed. It's fine. I felt Rimmeru sent a thought communication, likely calming everyone down. Haha, I knew you would be okay with it, Rimmeru. Shouted an overeager Milim. Rimmeru sighed again, but this time it was incredibly depressing. Please don't be yourself at this festival, Milim. He said. Milim looked confused. Eh? What do you mean? I decided to ease her into the explanation. I think what Rimuru is trying to say is don't cause trouble. This event is important for Tempest and Rimuru's dream. We don't want to mess it up by accidentally killing someone important. Milim nodded in understanding. Yup. You're right, Felix. I don't want to ruin my friend's dream. Hey, Milim might be some evil demon lord to others, but she is a loyal friend above everything else. Don't worry, Rimuru. Everything will be fine. Indeed, there is no need to worry, Demon Lord Rimuru. I will make sure to keep Milim under control, said Frey. Hey, imagine having a handler because you can't control yourself. I can control myself, Frey. Milim pouted. Rimuru nodded. I'll trust you then, Frey. While you're here, I wanted to discuss the rebuilding of the Harpy Kingdom. That's right, Rimuru and Frey did have some kind of alliance going, huh? Frey nodded. Very well. I choose this time to jump in. You two can do that in private. I'll make sure to keep Milim under control. You too, Felix, yelled Milim. We all just ignored her though. Alright, thanks, Felix, said Rimuru. I will make sure not to take too long, Felix. I waved Frey off. Take your time, we're just going to go mess around. Hearing me, a grin crept up onto Milim's face. Messing around? Rimuru whispered, fear evident in his tone. It can't be that bad, right? Please just don't go around mugging my citizens for your own amusement. I snorted after hearing him. But that was funny. The look on Gobta's face was priceless. I'm sure he's always got his guard up now. Rimuru smiled slightly. Hee, yup. Even Hikaru has increased his training so he doesn't get mugged again. Hee, sucks to suck, ha, Gobta. I'll make sure we don't do anything too crazy. Is that a new subordinate of yours? Asked Rimuru, who was looking at Sukuna. I nodded. Yup, I wanted a butler. This here is Sukuna, my very own Diablo. Sukuna gave Rimuru a bow. It is a pleasure to meet you, Lord Rimuru. Rimuru nodded. It is nice to meet you as well, Sukuna. I turned to the rest of our large group. Alright, let's go. Once we were outside the building where Rimuru's office was located, I turned to Carrion and his group. Alright, feel free to wander around, just don't cause trouble, I ordered. Carrion saluted me. You got it, boss. I turned to Sapia. You can go with them. She gave me a grin and ran to catch up to them. Thanks, boss. I heard her yell as she was getting further and further away. Now for my group. You guys can also do whatever you want, just don't cause trouble. Suko was the first to speak up. Is it fine if I visit some of the Anas? She probably wants to see her old friends, huh? I haven't told her that Ponytail is going to be here, have I? I told her he was alive. After all, she has the right to know that, but she doesn't know that he is going to be coming here. He was like an older brother to her, so I guess it can be a surprise for her. I nodded. Sure. Once Suko was off, Raiden said, I would like to stay with you, Master. I don't have any problems with free eye candy. I can also drag Raiden around so she can have some fun for once. Alright, that's fine. Arcuade, Megaman, and Lalitina were discussing something. Once they noticed my attention was on them, Arcuade took the lead. My lord, the three of us would like to visit this dungeon you have spoken to us about. They are totally going to fight each other, huh? Alright, just make sure not to kill too many monsters, those are needed for the demonstration later on in the festival. Even though there are hundreds of thousands of monsters inhabiting the dungeon, I don't doubt they could easily clear the entire thing, except for Veldora, of course. Zijin has the potential to match them eventually, but as he is now, not a chance. The three of them nodded. Got it, Master, said Lalitina. With that, I teleported them directly into the dungeon. I'm sure they can figure everything out. They are millions of years old primordials after all. I would like to accompany you with Raiden, Master, said Kurami. I nodded. Alright, that's fine with me. I looked to Sukuna. And you, Sukuna? I wish to secure the area in case there is an attack on your person, my lord. I'm pretty sure I'm safe in Tempest, but being careful couldn't hurt. I nodded. Very well. I turned to the last two. What about you, Ingvild, Glenda? Ingvild is the one who responded. Glenda heard about all the good food we tried here on our D-date and she wanted to try it, so I'll show her around. I nodded. Alright, have fun, you two. I waved them off. Though Glenda had a shit-eating grin for some reason, while Ingvild had a tiny, almost unnoticeable blush. Then it is just Raiden, Kurami, and Milim with me, huh? I could sense a bunch of new attractions that weren't here the last time I came to Tempest. Tempest. Rimuru looked towards the seductive Sky Queen as she apologized for her delay. Thank you for inviting us to this festival. I apologize that we had shown up unannounced, but Milim was adamant about attending with her best friend. Milim is even causing trouble for Frey, huh? Somehow Felix is the only one who she doesn't really cause trouble for, though that's probably because they both cause trouble together for others. Don't worry about that, Frey, just enjoy the next few days free of hassle. Felix might not look it, but he can control Milim very well. Frey nodded. Indeed, it is quite remarkable that those two get along so well. If only they didn't cause so much trouble. Frey went on to explain that whenever Felix shows up he kidnaps Milim, giving both Frey and Ark a heart attack. Haha, Felix really isn't making it easy for them, huh? By the way, I didn't have the chance to ask before, but we have a multitude of dishes made. One in particular is made of bird. Will that be a problem? For some reason Frey seems to be angry. Did he say something wrong? Are you putting me on the same level as a bird, Rimuru? Frey asked with a polite smile on her face. But for some reason he felt that smile was anything but polite. That isn't what I meant, Frey. She giggled. I know, I was just teasing you. Grr, damn seductress. Chapter 99, Prelude to the Festival. The reception ceremony should start sometime tomorrow. After that the festival will officially begin, so we have some time to explore and mess around then. Come on, Felix. Let's go, said an overexcited Milim. I sighed. Do you even know where you're going? Milim paused for a moment before turning to look at me. Where are we going again, Felix? I sighed even louder this time. This girl is seriously a handful. Why don't we check out Veldora's takoyaki stand? I'm sure his stand is ready by now. He seemed to be taking it super seriously too, so it should be good. Milim nodded. Okay. I looked to the side to see what Raiden and Kurumi thought. That sounds wonderful, master, said Raiden. Yup, said Kurumi. As we were making our way to where I sensed Veldora, I felt Kurumi in her fox form hop onto my shoulder, something I didn't protest as the festival has not technically started yet. Might as well let her do what she wants today, since tomorrow she will be forced to mingle a bit. Once we were within range, I heard someone shouting. Takoyaki. Come try the amazing Veldora's takoyaki. Hey, that's one method of advertising. It didn't take him long to notice us. Felix, come try my takoyaki. You too, Milim. Veldora then looked at Raiden. I don't think he has actually had an introduction to Raiden before. A dragon, huh? Well, you can come try some too. You as well, Fox. I gave Veldora a wave. Sup, Veldora. I don't think I've introduced you to these two before. The dragon is Raiden, my maid, and the nine-tailed fox is Kurumi. Veldora looked at Raiden with slight interest. You are quite strong? As expected of one of my brother's indirect descendants. You're quite strong too, Fox. As expected of my second brother, Felix. What does that mean? What do you mean by indirect descendant, Veldora? I asked. Milim chose this opportunity to interrupt. What kind of food are you making, Veldora? Right. She probably doesn't want to talk or hear much about her pet, since all dragons are descended from her pet. I assume that Veldora is related to her pet then somehow. Oh. You need to try my takoyaki. I guarantee it's the best you will ever have. Veldora is really embodying the shady salesman. I decided to help him out. He's right, you know, takoyaki is quite good. I'll try it then, said Milim. Great, then Veldora, can you make enough for me, Milim, Raiden and Kurumi? He looked determined. Yes. I guarantee this will be worth it. I'm sure it will, Veldora. The four of us munched on Veldora's takoyaki. It was actually quite good. I can tell he has been practicing. Milim quickly finished hers. Veldora can make some good stuff. I nodded. Right, who knew? I looked to the side and saw a now humanoid Kurumi and Raiden also enjoying it quite a bit. I can tell Veldora's shop will be quite successful. Though I imagine he will be in a disguise so no one knows he is a true dragon. No one wants to buy food from a true dragon, they would probably be far too terrified. I also ended up asking Veldora for another serving to store in my infinity space. I can give it to Velzard whenever we meet next. I'm sure she would like to try her little brother's cooking. All of a sudden I sensed tours erupt in the arena. It seems Carrion is fighting someone. Is that Geibiru? What the fuck is going on? Ooh. Let's go watch that fight, Felix, yelled Milim. I nodded. I was also quite interested in how this fight started. Yeah, sure. I snapped my fingers, teleporting us into the VIP spectators area of the arena. The arena is where Rimuru is going to be holding the tournament, so it is quite sturdy. I could sense Suppia, Albus, and Phobio down below in the common spectators area. I sent Suppia a thought communication. Hey Suppia, how did this fight start? Boss, that Dragonet challenged Lord Carrion. He said he wanted to test himself against an ex-demon lord so that he could see just how far he still has to go. I see, thank you. I cut the thought communication. Is this guy still aiming for Raiden? I can admire the sheer grit he has, but someone needs to talk to this guy. Though from what I'm sensing he can actually match Carrion temporarily if he uses all of his skills. Dragon Body is an intrinsic skill rarely possessed by dragonets. The skill allows the user to enter a temporary battle transformation which greatly increases their combat capabilities similar to its lycanthrope counterpart. Intriguing, how does that work? Answer. By absorbing the magicules surrounding them to supercharge their body. This results in a large offensive and defensive power increase. Carrion, he stared down the dragonet that challenged him to a fight. He was quite surprised at first, but he welcomed all challenges. Even back in his territory, if someone wanted to fight him and overthrow him, he welcomed them. Though such people should expect a swift punishment upon defeat. However, before their fight could truly start, they were interrupted. "What the hell are you two doing?" yelled Rimuru. Before he could answer, he sensed Felix appear next to him. "Calm down, Rimuru, they were just having a friendly spar, no?" Carrion nodded, seeing the look he was getting from Felix. "Still so close to the festival? You two better cut it out. If you want to fight, then you can both participate in the tournament." Felix looked interested. "That sounds like it will be a fun show to watch. What do you two think?" Carrion nodded. "I would not mind that." "Neither would I, Lord Rimuru, Lord Felix," responded the dragonet. Rimuru nodded in satisfaction. "Good, though you will have to wear disguise, Carrion. Having an ex-demon lord fight in my tournament might scare some off." He nodded. "Very well." Chapter 100, Part 2. With that taken care of, I looked to Rimuru with a pout. "You're such a party pooper." Rimuru looked annoyed. "Me? A party pooper? Ha." Milim chose this moment to appear. That looked like it could have been fun to watch. "Don't worry, Milim, the fight was just postponed. We can watch it at the tournament. Along with that, I bet there will be a few other interesting fights." Rimuru nodded along with me. "Ah. Really? Then I'll look forward to it," said Milim. The unique skill, Tuner, was analyzed. "Ah, that must be Geibiru's unique skill. This is an odd skill. The first sub-skill, Unexpected Effects, allows the user to boost attack power only through unintentional action. It acted based on the user's mood. They gain more strength when excited and driven, and vice versa. While the second sub-skill, Change Destiny, is quite honestly bullshit. It alters the user's own fate to the point of preventing certain death. It can only be used once a day on each target, which means that the user can use it once a day for each different target. It cannot be activated intentionally. Of course, this is not quite as good as Siko's Cook, but it is still quite broken. Fucking unique skills, man. This world is seriously full of hacks abilities. Though it seems there are more unique skills to analyze in Tempest, so I'll have to get that done during the festival. After all, if I can, then why shouldn't I analyze all the skills I can? The data can only help me after all. Rimuru's Uriel, Lord of Vows, was made with the combination of all of Rimuru's subordinates' abilities, but a lot of those abilities were left out due to them not meshing well with Uriel's general capabilities, so Odin is not able to gather data on every single one of Rimuru's subordinates' skills. Odin wanted to go off on her own to go analyze all the skills she can, but I rejected her. After all, this is the Cardinal World, you never know what can happen. One thing I did learn though is that Odin is just as eager for more data on skills as I am, if not more. I guess she inherited that from me. "What about Frey?" I asked. "Ah, we were discussing something about how she wanted me to rebuild her territory." I nodded. "I see, but I was asking where she was." Rimuru's eyes widened. "Crap. I teleported here as soon as I could, so I left her in my office. I'll see you guys later," Rimuru said as he teleported away. Well, that happened. I looked towards Carrion. "Well, you heard him, you can have your fight during the tournament." "Got it, boss." Carrion then left with Suppia, Albus, and Fabio. Though Suppia sent me a thought communication saying goodbye. Now that the fight was postponed, I noticed multiple orcs and high orcs resume their work. It seems they were busy reinforcing the arena when Carrion and Geibiru began releasing their ores in preparation. Noticing I was looking at him, Geld gave me a quick bow before resuming his work. I'd already analyzed his unique skills a while back. The unique skill, Guardian, has 3 sub-skills. Grant Protection, which allows Geld to increase the defensive capabilities of others, Substitute, which allows him to receive the damage others would take, and Iron Wall, which boosts his defensive ability and durability. A solid skill. Then his other unique skill, Gourmet, is just a reskinned gluttony, though it has a bit more restrictions. It suits a high orc like him. Alright, let's move on so the orcs can finish whatever they were doing. Milim nodded excitedly. "Let's go try some more food." "What a glutton." Rimuru Tempest. He gave his name at the reception desk for the Free Guild and requested to meet with Yoki. The guy at the desk thankfully quickly directed him to Yoki. Status was quite useful sometimes. "Hey, Rimuru, a long time no see. You've gone through a lot of interesting things since we last met, huh?" "This bastard." Rimuru controlled his expression to make sure he gave nothing away. He gave Yoki a friendly smile. He sighed. It was far more than just interesting, getting surprise attacked by Hinata, then Famuth's invasion. I even became a demon lord. Everything was super chaotic for the last few months. Ah, well you came out on top, huh, Rimuru? That's just like you. Yuki responded playfully. It seems he was going to pretend that he wasn't responsible for Hinata's attack. Even Raphael was not completely certain if he was behind it, but Yuki was the most suspicious. He just couldn't look at his former friend the same with that suspicion in the back of his mind. At least I made up with Hinata, so all turned out well. Yuki nodded. That must have been difficult. I know how she can be. Rimuru imagined it would have been quite difficult if Felix didn't convince him to just directly contact Luminous to sort everything out. With Hinata's brash personality, they likely would have ended up fighting. Yeah, she didn't listen at all to what I was saying, but she is loyal to a fault. He made sure not to give away too much information, like the fact that Felix was Viati training Hinata. Ah, you're here to pick me up for the festival though, right? I've been desperately finishing my work just to attend, you know? Asked Yuki. Rimuru nodded. You and the kids? Yuki smirked. I'm sure they will be happy to see their Rimuru-sensei again. Rimuru smiled fondly at remembering his students. His true purpose for coming here after all was to take the kids to Tempest. Ah, I'll introduce you to my assistant as well, Rimuru. Yuki pressed a button under his desk. Rimuru prepared for an attack just in case. After all, Yuki no longer had his trust. He was a demon lord now, he ought to be prepared for these sorts of things. Thankfully no attack took place. The door opened and in came a beautiful-looking elf. Damn bastard, having an elf secretary. Both Yuki and Felix are traitors, he wants some elf subordinates too. Rimuru did rescue a few elves from Jiro who were enslaved, but they weren't really his subordinates, they were more like citizens of his territory. This is my assistant Kagle, she has taken up the role of my deputy guildmaster. Yuki said, introducing me to that woman. She had the classic secretary look, a nice suit with unique designs, neatly combed hair, navy blue eyes, and blonde hair tied in a bun. Then there was her more attractive feature. Her pointed ears. Bastard. If you ever want to meet me and I am not available, you will be directed to her, said Yuki. Rimuru nodded in response. The elf, Kagle, gave a quick bow. Greetings, Demon Lord Rimuru, my name is Kagle, it is an honor to meet you. He gave her a smile. It is nice to meet you as well, Kagle. They quickly finished their conversation and then left the room. Yuki had to get his bag full of his daily necessities since he will be leaving for a few days. Rimuru made his way to the familiar school building. He didn't send a letter in advance since he wanted to surprise them. He hoped they didn't look at him differently due to him being a demon lord now. Thanks to the pass he got from Yuki, he was able to easily get through the Freedom Academy and make his way to where the kids were. Chapter 101, Part 3. While Rimuru was meeting with the children, he took the chance to hear what Kagle had to say. So what do you think? He asked. He saw Kagle shiver slightly. It felt like I was constantly being watched, as if one wrong move would result in my death. She whispered. Yuki nodded in response. Rimuru seems to be a bona fide demon lord, far stronger than he was when he was a mere slime. We can't underestimate him or his friend. Kagle nodded. Make sure Laplace is ready when the time comes. He ordered. Got it, boss. Rimuru Tempest. Rimuru opened the door to the classroom. Hey kids, I hope you guys have been studying hard. Before he could continue though, he was tackled by Chloe, who hit him like a bullet. She looked up at him with a pout. You said you'd visit Sensei. He rubbed the back of his head sheepishly. Well, you say yeah. I thought you'd forgotten about us. Gale is right. You should have come to play with us. He was quite busy with everything that has been going on, but he knew such an excuse wouldn't work on the kids. Haha, sorry about that, but how about to make up for it, why don't you come visit my country? We are holding a big festival where you can all have a ton of fun. Eh? Sensei's country? Yelled Alice. He nodded with a smirk. Yup. My country is pretty awesome, I can even introduce you to my best friend. You have a best friend, Sensei? Asked Chloe with a curious hint to her voice. He nodded. Yup. His name is Felix. All of their eyes widened. You mean the Demon Lord Felix White? Yelled Kenya. Whoa. We can meet a real demon lord? Seriously, guys? He was a demon lord too. Whatever, as long as they're happy. Yes, I'm sure Felix would love to meet you. Felix had mentioned that he wanted to meet the students he taught at some point. The festival was a good opportunity for that. Yippee! Shouted Kenya. Man, they really didn't take him as a demon lord seriously, huh? Well, maybe they were too familiar with him to see him like that. He noticed the teacher standing to the side watching with a surprised expression, though he was smiling. Alright, why don't you kids go get ready? They all nodded and ran off to get what they needed. Ah, what a surprise, they don't treat me with as much affection, said the teacher. He decided to comfort him. Haha, Don't worry about it, before I came here they wouldn't tolerate any other teachers, so they do like you. Aha, that's true, but it does make sense that they don't take me very seriously. The strength of those kids. Eh? Were they really that strong? Ah, I haven't introduced myself. My name is Rimuru. I was their substitute teacher before. The teacher shook his head. There is no need for introduction. Those kids won't stop talking about you, and Ecchi has already informed me about you. My name is Klaus, by the way. Nice to meet you, Klaus. He responded. Klaus said he was a knee-rank adventurer and he was 50 years old. If they could rival a knee-rank adventurer when they are so young, then those kids have a ton of potential. Especially Kenya and Chloe. According to his elemental of light, he had the potential to become a true hero, a being opposite to the true demon lords. And then Chloe was blessed and contracted to that mysterious spirit, one that great sage said had an immeasurable amount of power. Ecchi walked through the doors with a large duffel bag. Ah, are the kids already getting ready? Klaus nodded. Indeed. While you are here, Grandmaster, I would like to make a request to both of you, in fact. Ecchi looked at him and he nodded in response. Very well, Klaus, what is it? Asked Ecchi. Klaus went on to say that the children's growth may be affected if they don't find a stronger teacher. After all, they are already capable of rivaling him individually. Soon enough they will be able to beat Klaus single-handedly. No student will respect a teacher that is weaker than them, at least normally. Children are just like that. Oftentimes logic does not work on them. It doesn't matter if Klaus is more experienced and has more knowledge to pass on. It seemed Klaus really valued the children and wanted them to succeed. It's good to know that there are still teachers like that out there. Rimuru saw this opportunity to poach the kids and get them out of Ecchi's influence. If this plan works, he won't need to use his other plan. Why don't they come stay in Tempest then? We have amazing teachers and they are all quite strong, so it will be a long time before the kids outgrow them. Ah. Can we entrust them to you then, Rimuru? Asked Ecchi. It's good that he wasn't protesting. He nodded. Yes. Count on me. He can even have Hinata and the Holy Knights help train the kids so they could get a deeper understanding of their elementals. Rimuru looked down at the kids playing around fondly. This is the life they deserve to have, not one where they constantly worry about if they will make it to the next day. Thankfully Ecchi didn't protest much about him taking them to the festival. He had a plan for how to keep them in Tempest. He didn't trust Ecchi much due to his shady activities, so it's best if he keeps the kids close. Rimuru left them to their games while he continued to prepare for the festival. He would introduce them to Felix a little later on, maybe when the festival officially starts. I looked down at the fallen form of Hinata. Since we had a couple hours until nightfall, Hinata wanted to get a little bit more training, and since we likely won't have as much time during the festival, which starts tomorrow. Though I wasn't complaining, I used this chance to try out some of my soul magic. Basically elemental magic that is used by elemental souls like me. Elemental souls can naturally manipulate the laws of the world concerning their respective elements. This phenomena completely obeys the laws of physics, contrary to how regular magic violates those laws. Since it obeys the laws of physics, elemental souls can be used to fight when under an anti-magic area or a holy barrier. Since my elemental soul of infinity is a combination of my space and time affinities, I can quite casually manipulate both those aspects now, whereas before I struggled with manipulating time partly due to fear of the element itself and inexperience. Soul magic, if mastered enough, is capable of even rivaling an ultimate skill. You had enough yet? I taunted. Gah, not yet. She yelled as she quickly jumped up and charged at me. I simply blocked her attack with my stick and then kicked her away at speed she couldn't follow. Before I could continue, however, I got a thought communication from Rimuru. You need something, Rimuru? Kinda? Are you busy right now? I looked towards Hinata, who once again charged at me. Not really, no. What's up? You said you wanted to meet my students, right? They're here now and then want to meet the great demon Lord Felix White. I smirked, hearing the slight jealousy in Rimuru's tone. It seems they know who the real demon lord is. Huh? What does that mean? You wanna go? Now you just sound like Milim. Anyways, I'll teleport over to you soon. And with that I cut the thought communication. Chapter 102, Part 4. Before Hinata could continue attacking me, I interrupted her. Alright, I got something I need to do. Actually, why don't you come along with me? You are kinda famous in the human world, right? I'm sure those kids would like to meet you. Hinata looked confused. Those kids? I nodded. Yeah, Rimuru was teaching some kids at the Freedom Academy. He got them contracted elementals and everything too. Hinata nodded in understanding. Very well, maybe I can see if some of those kids have potential. Hearing her, I nodded. After all, they are kids taught by Rimuru, so they can't be simple. They are otherworlders, so that already puts them above the vast majority of the world. Alright, let's go then. I gestured to Hinata to prepare herself for the teleportation. Some people just can't handle teleporting very well. I snapped my fingers, teleporting us to where I sensed Rimuru. I took a look around. It seems he has the kids staying at the Tempest School. The school itself is quite nice, the teachers are also good from what I've seen. Hinata has stopped by here a few times and always had good things to say. Though she did say the kids could be little shits. I headed out back towards the play area, though some of the combat classes also trained out here since there were barriers up. I noticed Hinata waving to some of the children, who knew the cold heroine had a heart. Felix. I turned towards the voice and saw Rimuru waving at us with a group of kids behind him. I sent him a wave and then gestured for Hinata to follow me. My attention focused on two of Rimuru's students in particular, one an orange-haired boy, and the other a black-haired girl. The boy was contracted to an elemental of light. If he gets his elemental's blessing, all he would need is Ramari's blessing to gain a hero's egg. While the girl was even more special. I could tell she was blessed by time. She even had a hero's egg somehow. She had a unique skill as well. What does she have, Odin? Unable to determine due to an unknown entity interfering with the scan. Odin was not able to completely analyze the skill but was able to determine the skill involves traveling through time in some way. So time travel then? That is the most likely scenario. There is a lot to unpack there. For one, who the fuck could interfere with Odin's scan? This girl doesn't have an ultimate skill, nor does she have divinity. It must be that mysterious blessing then. Time travel sounds like a pain in the ass to consider. Has this girl already traveled to the past? Or maybe her future self will travel to the past and interfere with certain events. In that case, the timeline I am currently in is most likely the already altered one. Is this girl even as old as she looks? From my millimai, her soul doesn't tell me much, as it seems to be as old as the girl herself is. But maybe the blessing is interfering with that too. I can't rely on Odin for this then, huh? Apostrophe. No need to pout, Odin. I was relying on you too much anyways. I need to be able to do things on my own too. Still, this is confusing. I think it's best if I take a wait-and-see approach. I don't want to accidentally do something and erase myself out of existence. Fucking time travel, man. The other kids also all had contracts with greater elementals, though the elementals themselves were artificial. I bet Rimuru made them using his unique skill by fusing together a bunch of lesser elementals. Answer. That is correct. Using the unique skill, Degenerate Rimuru Tempest was able to fuse the leftovers of multiple elementals to create a greater elemental for each child. Got it, thanks Odin. Still, Rimuru really has some rather absurd students, huh? 2 potential heroes? These are my students, Felix. Rimuru then turned to look at the kids. And this is my best friend Felix. If you guys ever need anything and I'm not around, then you can go to him. Best friend, eh? Hey, I wouldn't disagree. Both Milim and Rimuru have been the closest friends I've got in this life, maybe even my previous life. Sensei's best friend? I heard the girl blessed by time whisper. Weird. Hearing Rimuru, all the kids bowed and greeted me. Haha, no need to bow, you're Rimuru's students so you can be more casual with me. Anyways, I'm Felix and this is Hinata. One of his students, a blonde-haired girl, looked at Hinata in surprise. Hinata as in Hinata Sakaguchi the hero? Hey, it seems Hinata is quite famous like I expected. I nodded. That's her. The kids all looked super excited. Why don't you introduce yourselves, kids? Said Rimuru. They nodded. Yes, sensei. The orange-haired kid blessed by an elemental of light took the lead. I'm Kenya. Then the rather large brown-haired boy spoke up. I'm Gale. He has an artificial greater elemental of earth. The blonde girl who seemed to be enamored with Hinata said, Alice. She's blessed by an artificial greater elemental of space. Then a rather shaggy-looking black-haired boy spoke up. I'm Ryota. Huh, he has an artificial greater elemental of water wind, basically a combination of multiple elements. I looked towards the girl blessed by time. She peeked out from behind Rimuru shyly. Chloe Albert. I gave her a nod. You already know me, but I'm Demon Lord Felix. I said, giving a graceful bow. And I am Hinata Sakaguchi. It is nice to meet some promising individuals. Commented Hinata. Everyone I brought to Tempest is currently off doing their own things. Raiden and Kurumi are chilling at my place in Tempest while Milim is off doing who knows what. Sukuna is sparring with some of Rimuru's subordinates. He said that he has been enjoying sparring with new people, so I left him to it. Hinata ended up doing a quick training session with the kids at Rimuru's request. Those are some students you have. I commented. Rimuru smiled proudly. Yup. I smirked. Not as good as mine though. Eh? What do you mean yours? Hinata doesn't count, you already got her when she was super powerful. That sounds like something a loser would say. Face it, I have one who has the best student competition without even trying. My greatness astounds me sometimes. Rimuru just stared at me before finally opening his mouth. Dick. Ha, that's the best you got. Rimuru and I continued insulting each other while watching Hinata spar with the kids. Ah, I forgot to ask, how is your relationship with Shuna going? I asked with a shit-eating grin. Rimuru gained a blush on his face. That's not your business. I looked at him offended. Of course it is. I got you two together, so it is now my duty to continue to observe this relationship of yours. Rimuru sighed. Fine, it's going well. Shuna and I are taking our time to get to know each other more as partners and lovers rather than master and subordinate. I nodded. Yeah, that's probably a good move. I don't think I need to do that, seeing as I'm fine with the way my relationships are going now. Chapter 103, Part 5. By the way, I had an idea for the dungeon. This idea is based off of what Odin did in the Jujutsu Kaisen world. She was able to use the data from Small World to make basically leaderboards around the world detailing someone's strength. Maybe Ranmaris can do something similar in the dungeon. After all, strength is quite difficult to measure at the higher levels, so having a way to tell how powerful someone is will be quite helpful later down the line. Hell, maybe Rimuru can make it available to everyone. After all, visibly seeing your strength go up is bound to be good motivation. It also fits with the whole merpg thing Rimuru has going on in the dungeon. But Rimuru will have to make sure to keep his subordinates and his own strength level as secret as possible. After all, if someone knows exactly how strong Rimuru is, it could give others with untoward intentions towards Tempest more information. In this world, information often decides the fate of battles between two equal parties. That's why Odin is so broken. She can easily gather information. Once Rimuru heard my idea, he looked thoughtful. It would fit the theme of the dungeon, and it might motivate adventurers to work harder as they see their ranking go up. I nodded. Yeah, that's what I thought too. It can also be a good way to measure progress. If someone sets a goal to reach a certain level, they just need to find someone at a similar level as their goal, then they can tell how close or far away they are from their goal. Something that increases motivation even more. It can also be used to rank exactly how strong a floor boss is, letting people know just how strong they will need to beat a boss. I'll have to talk to Ranmaris about it. Thanks, Felix. I nodded. Hey, I wonder where I'll be placed. Rimuru snorted. I don't plan to have any of us listed on the leaderboard if Ranmaris can make this a thing. Hell, I probably won't even have our strong subordinates on the leaderboard. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. The difference between even an E-rank adventurer and someone like Sakura Benimaru is incredibly vast. Rimuru nodded. All of Rimuru's subordinates got a lot stronger after his Harvest Festival. The gifts from the Harvest Festival aren't a joke. A good chunk of Rimuru's subordinates gained unique skills off of that. Unique skills that I of course analyzed. There is Kurobe's Divine Craftsman and Researcher, Shuna's Analyst and Manufacturer. Then there is Benimaru's Commander, the ideal skill for a general like him. It lets him sense the flow of a battle along with reading his chances for victory. It also boosts his army's power and lets him instantly send them orders. Hikaru's Martial Master is, as it sounds, a skill ideal for martial arts. Its first sub-skill Heavenly Eye gives Hikaru senses far greater than what magic sense. It also allows the user not only the ability to visually see magicules and other spiritual matter, but also the ability to tell how much force is behind it, with its user even being able to distinguish the type of magic being used before it's even activated. It's a skill that has the potential to surpass not only the performance level of a normal extra skill, but is even able to surpass the performance of most unique skills in the right hands. And Hikaru is the right hands. With that alone, his skill is already fairly impressive. It also has Thought Acceleration and Ultra Acceleration, which allows him to increase the momentum of anything. It can also predict the future along with some other useful abilities. While Sai also has a unique skill of his own called Shadow Stalker. Its sub-skills include Thought Acceleration, Ultra Acceleration, Insta-Kill, which reinforces a user's attacks allowing the user to directly damage the spiritual body, and Espionage, which conceals the user and their presence. Rimuru's pet wolf, Ranga, also got a unique skill ideal for being the alpha of his pack. All around, Rimuru's subordinates are incredibly powerful, some even at the Demon Lord seed level, though of course Diablo is far beyond even that. Man, true Demon Lords really are so high up in the food chain compared to most in this world. When each true Demon Lord has multiple Demon Lord seed level subordinates, it's kinda understandable why the majority of the world is shit scared of even the peaceful Demon Lords. Just knowing there is an individual out there with such a vast amount of power would make the majority paranoid, let alone the nobles and rulers who wish to cling to their political power and position. Rimuru is definitely going to have a hard time with his dream to make peace with humans. But he's already made significant progress. An alliance with both Dwargon and Sarian shows the world that those two superpowers approve of Tempest. By the way, you should probably know that Yoki is here, said Rimuru. That's the guy you suspect of being the one to instigate Hinata and Famuth? I asked, my tone even. Rimuru nodded. So the guy who I may or may not kill is finally here, huh? I'm not one to let go of grudges after all, if I'm able to confirm if he is behind Sako's death. Well, safe to say I'm going to kill him and devour his soul. Though I'm not quite sure how I can do that without directly controlling him, and he is the guild master of the Adventurers Guild of this world. I'm sure he has protection against such a thing like mind control. I don't want to ruin Rimuru's relationship with someone so important on a hunch. Either way, if he is responsible, I will find out eventually. No lie or trickery stays hidden for long. Though I also need to consider, what if he is responsible? How am I going to deal with him without anyone that I don't want learning about it? After all, Yuki is an important figure in the human world. If they find out that I am responsible for it, for one, they may attack my territory, which isn't a big deal since I can just have all the attackers wiped out. The issue is, what if they use that as an excuse to not establish relations with Tempest? I don't want to ruin the chances of my best friend's dream over something like revenge. I need to take my time and plan everything out if I want to kill Yuki. I'm sure an opportunity to strike will appear at some point. I just need to make sure to be patient. Who knew that even at my level I would have to play politics? Rimuru better appreciate what I'm doing. Though it's probably best if I keep my plan to myself from now. Rimuru is soft like that. I could see him not wanting to kill Yuki. I shook my head, clearing away those thoughts. I have time to think about all that at a later time. Rimuru was looking at me curiously but ended up keeping quiet. I turned my head slightly, looking in the direction I sensed the King of Dwargon. It seems he was arriving in a carriage, probably for political reasons. It wasn't too surprising that he was basically the first guest to arrive. Tempest's relations with Dwargon are quite close after all. The King of Dwarves should be here soon. I told Rimuru. Rimuru nodded. Alright, thanks for letting me know. I'll go prepare for his arrival. Do you mind keeping an eye on the kids? I nodded. Sure, I don't have much else to do. Right about now I'm sure everyone is getting changed into the outfits we all tried on yesterday before coming to Tempest. Hearing me, Rimuru nodded and walked off. I noticed one of the kids, Chloe, approaching me. Chloe, right? I asked. She nodded shyly. Aren't you supposed to be training with Hinata? She shook her head. Big sis Hinata said that she was just getting a general basis of all our abilities. I nodded. I see, so once she does that she'll begin training you in earnest. Chloe nodded, though I noticed she kept looking towards the direction Rimuru left in. I gave her a pat on the head. Don't worry, kid, he'll be fine. I'm sure Rimuru will spend some more time with you guys after the festival. This festival is quite important for him after all. Chloe nodded with a blush creeping up on her face. I have an amazing idea. Why don't I just ask her about her skill? Truly, my genius astounds me. Hey Chloe, mind if I ask a question about her unique skill? Chloe looked at me confused. Unique skill? But behind that confused expression I could see astonishment and fear. Almost no one can hide their expressions from a skill like Odin. There was a chance she did not know about her skill. Her unique skill likely involves traveling through time. Such an ability is far beyond the bounds of a mere unique skill. There is a high likelihood that her skill has some sort of condition to activate, and until that condition is met she might not know she even has the skill. But it seems that my theory is incorrect, or at least partially incorrect, as it seems Chloe at least has some idea of her ability. Now how to deal with this? I don't want to interfere too much, mostly due to the fear of messing things up. I'm not all-knowing after all. If I push too hard, certain events might change, resulting in a different future. That future could be good or bad. Man, I don't think I've ever felt this helpless before. Who knew for all my power I could still feel helpless? I always heard from various fictional works that time travelers are a pain in the ass, but I never imagined I'd experience what they had for myself. I can now confidently say, yes, time travelers are a pain in the ass. Fuck it, she has a hero's egg, she can't be that bad, right? I might be making a foolish decision here, but hey, if I die, it'll be due to a choice I made. I can accept that. I'll place my faith in Rimuru's student for once. I doubt I'll die anyway. I can always just jump worlds after all in the worst case scenario and bring everyone I care for with me. I shook my head. Never mind. Chloe looked at me confused but nodded nonetheless. Why don't you tell me about your favorite times with Rimuru when he was teaching you? Chloe nodded eagerly and began telling me about her first meeting with Rimuru. One thought I had in my mind at the time was that it's nice to just relax like this sometimes. Chapter 104, Part 6. Rimuru was currently meeting the King and Queen of Bleemond, who had just arrived earlier. Rimuru left me with Gazel, who had arrived just earlier, and seeing as I thought that Arcuaid could possibly want to build a more secure connection with Gazel, I called her over. I was currently sitting across from Gazel, the King of Dwargon. He was dressed in a nice black suit with embroidered designs. though I did notice his gaze shift to Arcuaid occasionally. Could he perhaps know who she really is? Reports of the Lakeshore Dread incident have been spread around, along with that came the description of the demon who did it. A demon with white hair and blood-red eyes. Either way I don't really care, he is strong but not strong enough to pose an issue if he wants to cause me trouble. Besides from what I've seen he has a reasonable personality so I doubt he would want to cause any trouble. After all, any gain that Tempest makes Dwargon makes as well. Gazel of course had a unique skill as a saint. His unique skill, Tyrant, is one that I'm sure helps him in his duties as a ruler. It allows him to read the thoughts of the target and enrich their energy once the skill is fully mastered. It also allows the user to integrate their energy and sublime it into an attack, enhancing its power. I'm sure Gazel used this ability to read Rimuru's intentions when they first met, it's likely why they were completely fine with entering an alliance with a monster nation. Though that skill won't work on Rimuru anymore. Along with that ironically I was able to copy Hero's Haki, the counterpart to my own Demon Lord's Haki. Along with the normal effects of Haki, Hero's Haki imbues the user's aura with a spiritual interference effect that allows them to bend others to their will and turn others into allies. Demon Lord's Haki is primarily for intimidation along with being used to kill fodder, while Hero's Haki is more focused on defeating others without killing them. Something that suits the hero theme. Then Gazel's final extra skill might be his most useful skill, more useful than his unique skill. The extra skill, Fusion, allows Gazel to physically merge with allies that he has a strong relationship with, increasing the unified being's total strength. Gazel has a contract with an elemental lord of Earth, a being that on its own is on par with a true demon lord. Gazel himself is also around the same level. When he merges with his elemental lord it's safe to say he becomes a formidable force. I can see why he is so widely respected and worshipped as a hero king, he has the power for it. Arcuaid is the one who starts the conversation. So you are the so-called hero king? Gazel's gaze shifted to Arcuaid. His gaze alone could make those of weaker will shiver but Arcuaid just met it head on. That is one of my titles. He responded. She smiled. Interesting. With that out of the way Arcuaid quickly began discussing the alliance Azeroth has with Dwargon. Ours is far less close than the one Dwargon has with Tempest but that is understandable. Those two went on for a little while as I continued to listen in. I'm sure I could become an expert negotiator with the help of Odin but there is no reason to bother if I have Arcuaid. She enjoys doing it so why take it away from her? While they were talking I reached for the donuts on the center table. Both Gazel and Arcuaid looked at me curiously. You should try one. I commented as I took a bite. No matter how unhealthy donuts are, they are so good, and now that I can eat whatever I want with no consequence you can bet that I am going to eat whatever the hell I want. As a divine being my body is made up of energy, all the food I eat is turned into energy resulting in no waste. That's also one of the reasons I can't have children, I have no functioning genetics or DNA to pass on. If I ever do want kids though I'm sure I can figure something out. Hell I could create a kid if I want, who said the kid needs to be born a normal way? Both Arcuaid and Gazel reached for a donut and took a bite. This is quite delicious my lord. I nodded. Yeah, Raiden made these so I'm sure she will make you some if you ask. Arcuaid nodded. I will in the future. Gazel joined in. Indeed, this is quite incredible, I haven't tasted anything like it anywhere else. And you said one of your subordinates made them. I nodded. I see. Gazel said while looking thoughtful. Arcuaid and Gazel quickly resumed their negotiation but I noticed that Gazel was focusing more on the food culture of Azeroth now. We heard a knock on the door. Gazel looked at both me and Arcuaid, asking for permission to allow others in. We both nodded seeing as Arcuaid's negotiations were almost done. Come in. Said Gazel. The one who entered was Rimuru followed by that adventurer, Yom I think his name was and imagine that Clayman was controlling. Gazel stood up. Rimuru. Gazel. They both greeted each other with a handshake. Gazel then looked behind Rimuru to Yum and Imagine. Yum was dressed in quite the fancy outfit, though that makes sense seeing as Rimuru made him king of the now defunct Falmuth. I hear Yum was being called a hero king like Gazel. He was considered a champion in his own right due to Diablo's manipulations, though Yum himself was weak. I could sense Yum's guardian escort outside, he seemed to be a lycanthrope. The Magin gave a curtsy to the three of us. It is an honor to meet you again, Lord Rimuru, Lord Felix, King Gazel. Haha. Jiren resembles a queen far more than you do Yum. Rimuru teased. Yum looked to the side with a slight blush. Well, that's because unlike me she has refinement. Oh? So those two got married huh? I have experience since Clayman was at least a man of manners, he made sure that I knew the proper etiquette. That makes sense, Clayman was definitely a rather posh guy. After Yum finished talking with Rimuru he confidently turned to me causing me to raise a brow. Lord Felix, it is a pleasure to meet you once again. Hey, well at least he's confident. It's nice to see you as well, Yum, I said. He smiled hearing me respond to his greeting. He then turned to Arcuaid, who was sitting next to me. He kneeled in front of her and held his hand out. It is an honor to be in the presence of such a beautiful lady. Arcuaid looked amused as she extended her hand, which Yum gave a light kiss. Era. What an interesting little king, she said. I rolled my eyes. Go easy on the guy, Arcuaid. She giggled lightly. Very well, my lord. She then looked down at the still kneeling Yum. Well met, King of Farminus. Hearing that, Yum gave a smile and quickly rose up. Yum nodded and discreetly let out a sigh of relief. He then turned to Gazel and greeted him. At the very least, Gazel seems to approve of him. Arcuaid turned to me. So that is the one that Lord Rimuru made into a king? I nodded. Yup. Even Gazel approved of him, so he isn't bad. Indeed. He seems to be someone who can prove useful to you, my lord. Hearing her, I nodded. Do whatever you feel is best. Arcuaid nodded. Very well, my lord. Chapter 105, The Banquet. All 6 of us were now sitting in one of the many recreational rooms in Tempest's capital, Rimuru City. Arcuaid and I were sharing a couch with her on my left, though it seems she summoned some wine from somewhere. Yum sat across from us with his wife Mjurin, also on a shared couch, while Gazel was in a seat to my right with Rimuru on a seat to my left. We were all sort of sat in a circle. Did you arrive in a carriage as well, Yum? Asked Gazel. Yum nodded. Indeed, it was a tiring journey and the roads were incredibly busy. Though thankfully the journey itself was rather smooth as the roads are incredibly well maintained. Yeah, coming on a carriage just sounds like a pain in the ass. The normally bumpy roads would be a pain. You also need to maintain the condition of the horses. Hell, carriages could even break down. Unlike the modern world, there was no insurance that could quickly fix your means of transport up and cover the bill for it. It must suck for nobles to travel around. Rimuru perked up. Hey, those roads are one of Tempest's proudest accomplishments. Rimuru boasted. Gazel nodded. Indeed, the Hobgoblin riders were also incredibly swift when taking care of any threats to travelers' safety. The protection of travelers is a big selling point when using the roads monitored by Tempest. Almost all other nations' roads are in far worse condition and there is no protection for traveling merchants. They need to hire and pay for adventurers out of their own pockets and pray that they don't get attacked by an extremely powerful monster. Yum nodded along. There is a barrier surrounding the roads as well. That, along with the occasional drinking fountains, the rest spots that appeared every so often, and the general ease there is when traveling the roads is incredible. I noticed Rimuru green slightly under their praise. Haha, indeed, those inns are quite something, they are incredibly relaxing. You really did something incredible, my junior, said Gazel. Rimuru rubbed the back of his head. Well, it couldn't have been done without everyone's effort. The orcs worked day and night to build those highways, so it's good that everyone appreciates them. All of us nodded in response to that. Ah, by the way, is it true that Hinata Sakaguchi had come to Tempest? I had heard rumors about it and was prepared to send reinforcements before surprisingly the Holy Kingdom said that they had made an alliance with the monster nation Tempest. That was an incredible surprise to learn of, said Gazel. The Western Holy Church has even opened a formal window for an alliance with Dwargon. The very same Western Holy Church that viewed us as subhuman, only slightly above monsters. Gazel continued. That's not too surprising. The Western Holy Church strikes me as a bunch of extremists. She originally came here due to false information, but we ended up resolving that misunderstanding and ended up making an alliance with the permission of their goddess. Rimuru said. That's incredibly fortunate. That woman, in all honesty, is stronger than me. Maybe in swordsmanship I may be superior to her, but when it comes to overall strength I would be pushed back. I don't doubt that. Gazel doesn't really have any defense against Hinata's usurper. Even Gazel's elemental Lord of Earth would find itself weakened. Along with that, Hinata can easily read his moves with mathematician, not to mention Hinata's melt slash, which can even kill an ultimate skill wielder. I'm sure Gazel gained this information by having someone do some investigation on Hinata. He is the Hero King after all. It would negatively affect his reputation if he got into a fight with Hinata. Rimuru's eyes widened slightly. Whoa, I knew she was strong, but I didn't know she was that strong. He then turned to look at me. You got a really strong disciple, huh, Felix? Hearing his words, Gazel, Yum, and Mjurin all looked at me in shock. For real? Exclaimed Yum. Huh, I guess Hinata really is a big deal to most. That girl really made something of herself in this world, huh? That is incredibly surprising, commented Gazel. He tried to maintain his stoic facade, but I could see hints of his shock peeking through. For someone revered as a hero to be learning under a demon lord. He began laughing. How amusing. Incredible, muttered Mjurin, awe covering her face. It is expected of my lord to achieve such a feat with ease. I am not quite certain why all of you are surprised. Could it be you have been looking down on my lord? Asked Arcuaid with a chilly voice. Yom began visibly sweating, same with Mjurin. Even Gazel seemed to be nervous. Gazel is the one who spoke up before I could though. It is nothing like that, Lady Arcuaid, we are all just incredibly surprised at hearing such a thing. After all, hearing is different from believing. Appeased Gazel. Wow, he's good at that. I guess centuries of politics helped him a lot. Arcuaid smiled, as if she knew what Gazel was doing. Very well, though make sure to not make such a mistake again. Yom quickly agreed while Gazel silently nodded. I placed my hand on Arcuaid's thigh. No need to be so intense, Arcuaid, we are among allies here. She nodded. As you wish, my lord. Rimuru sighed. Man, I thought things were going to get messy. I went on to answer everyone's unasked question. I just had to beat her up a bit and then offer to teach her. She's someone who is willing to do almost anything for more power, so it didn't take long for her to accept. Beat her up? Whispered Gazel. He looked to Rimuru for answers, but Rimuru just turned his head to the side and began whistling. I tilted my head. Yes, beat her up. What's the confusion about? Gazel shook his head. It's nothing, I just didn't imagine you wielded such a massive amount of power, Lord Felix. He said while addressing me far more respectfully than before. Rimuru nodded to my side. Yeah, you're a real monster, Felix. I rolled my eyes. Don't demean yourself, Rimuru, you're quite strong yourself. That's one thing I've noticed about Rimuru, he constantly brushes off his strength, almost acting as if he is still just a weak slime. Something that was absurd, as he has 4 ultimate skills, a feat even luminous, a true ancestor and a true demon lord that has been around for over 1,000 years has not achieved. Rimuru also has divinity, a true dragon to call upon, and multiple demon lord seed level subordinates. No one can be considered weak with such a force behind them, even if they were truly powerless. Haha, well that's mostly because of my skills. Rimuru said. Dude. Gazel stared at Rimuru, dumbfounded. You sure are a weird guy, you know, your own skills can be considered a part of your own abilities, you know? Rimuru shook his head. Be that as it may, my own abilities would fail to even beat Hikaru when it comes to swordsmanship. I snorted after hearing that. An awfully high bar you've set. Hikaru has been training for 200 years, of course you can't instantly catch up to him. And even then Rimuru is making steady progress. Yom and Mjurin were just looking at us in astonishment. Fucking normies. Humphrey, I just wish to surpass my teacher. Rimuru said with a pout. Yeah. Rimuru then went on to explain the background of everything that went down with Luminous, though he left out Luminous' own identity. So the 7 luminaries were behind everything, huh? Said Gazel. Rimuru nodded. Yup, with them gone I imagine Hinata now has almost all the authority, so she is able to keep everyone in check. Alright, enough with the boring talk. Now it's time to have fun. Yelled Gazel. Rimuru nodded and quickly had a bunch of drinks and snacks brought in. Even Arcuaid looked interested in participating. I gave Arcuaid's thigh a quick squeeze as I hadn't removed my hand from her thigh since earlier. She looked at me with a slight blush on her cheeks and gave me a seductive smirk. Hey, I'm gonna have some fun tonight. Arcuaid and I, arms locked, made our way to one of the guest rooms Rimuru said we could use. I've already told everyone else not to expect me back tonight, so I'm free to indulge as much as I want. We were a bit tipsy, seeing as we both lowered our abnormal condition nullification in order to enjoy the alcohol. All of us ended up drinking until about midnight. Rimuru brought up some topics concerning the development of Tempest, like a railway that Tempest is designing. Arcuaid was quick to pounce on it along with Gazel, so both Ozrat and Dwargon will be involved in that project. The moment we were in the confines of the room, I grabbed Arcuaid by the waist and kissed her. I closed and sealed the door behind us with a burst of telekinesis, something relatively simple to do. I can easily be considered an esper at this point. I continued kissing Arcuaid for a moment before I prodded her lips with my tongue, requesting access, something she quickly allowed by opening her mouth, allowing our tongues to connect. As I was devouring her mouth with my tongue, I slowly lowered my hands, from gripping her curvy waist to groping her voluptuous ass. I could feel my hands sinking into her ass meat due to just how round and squishy it was. Arcuaid was meaty in all the right places. After all, Arcuaid had no need for any real muscle since we could change our bodies as we pleased. Arcuaid wiggled her ass slightly as I continued to mold her cheeks to my desire. Arcuaid pulled herself closer, absolutely squishing her breasts into my chest. She got close enough to begin grinding against my tented bulge, met with her own wet mound that was already beginning to leak through the layers of clothing. Our mouths grew more frantic as our tongues collided. I pulled Arcuaid closer, causing her voluptuous breasts to press against my chest. Arcueid arched against my chest as she began moaning into my mouth as I began actively groping her ass. I of course was making use of a liberal amount of sex magic. If you aren't cheating, then you aren't really trying. Sex magic is of course the best kind of magic. A magic not used for death or destruction but to bring happiness to your partner. Could there be a better magic? Of course not. I pulled back slightly from the kiss, causing Arcueid to begin to follow my head, eager to reinitiate, but she stopped herself. She had a full-on blush on her face and was panting slightly even though she had no real need for oxygen. I'll just chalk it up to sex things. I continued to grope Arcueid's ass as we stared into each other's eyes. Why don't you get out of that dress? I'd love to. Appreciate your body more directly. Oh, of course, my lord, she said breathily. Once she was stripped of her clothing, Arcueid was left in her white, almost see-through lingerie. I grabbed her by the ass again and lifted her up. Arcueid quickly locked her legs around my waist. She quickly kissed me again as she began to grind her hot sex against my straining erection. I quickly carried her to the bed and laid her down under me. Arcueid kept her legs locked behind me as I unhooked her bra, revealing her pale breasts to the open air. Each breast was topped with a cherry pink nipple, each hard and begging for attention. I gave her left nipple a pinch, causing Arcueid to moan out as I approached her right nipple and began licking it. I licked around her areola before taking her entire nipple into my mouth. Yes, my lord. As I was doing that, I began reaching down towards Arcueid's panties with my right hand. She was drenched. I could feel her leaking through her panties. I slipped one of my fingers into her panties and began toying with the outer edges of her pussy lips as well as occasionally flicking her clit, something that drove Arcueid absolutely crazy. After teasing her for a few minutes, I slipped one of my fingers in while I switched nipples. After all, I should pay even attention to both of her breasts. I slipped a second finger into Arcueid's hot sex. It didn't take long for me to feel her folds tighten on my fingers as she came. I pulled back from her breasts and pulled my fingers out of her core. I raised my hand up in front of me. Hey, you got me really wet, Arcueid. Why don't you clean me up? Arcueid looked up at me with smoky eyes as she slowly leaned up and took my hand into her mouth. She carefully cleaned each of my fingers with her tongue while maintaining eye contact. I could feel my own erection almost breaking through my clothing from the scene. Once she was all done, she slowly released my hand, though not before sucking on each finger a little longer than necessary. This girl really knew how to get me going. Arcueid gave me a seductive smirk. Did you wish to partake in my body now, my lord? Haha, I'd never say no to an offer like that. I woke up with Arcueid sleeping on my chest. We didn't need to sleep, but it felt right ending off sex by going to bed usually. I expanded my senses to get an idea of what time it was. It was just after sunrise, so we still have some time until the festival starts. I could sense a steady stream of visitors pouring into Tempest, mostly commoners, though there were some nobles and royalty sprinkled in. Rimuru subordinates were taking care of the nobles and royalty, making sure they had everything they needed. Those kinds of people can be awfully picky, so it's important all their needs are met as they are guests of Tempest. The rooms they will be staying in are incredibly luxurious, and the food they will get will also be the best Tempest has to offer. Those guys are really getting spoiled. I could even sense Rimuru teleporting some people in with spatial transport. Spatial transport is the far inferior version of my instant motion. Both are arts, but there is a massive difference between the two. Spatial transport is an art that is used through spatial motion. Spatial transport has an incredibly short activation time than a normal spatial motion, and it also does not require portals like spatial motion. Though there is a requirement to use spatial transport, you need to have an image or information of your current location and destination. So it does require some time to activate the art, time that you might not have. That's why the range can be limited at times, but it is also possible through extremely complex calculations to use spatial transport to travel dimensions. It's even possible to use spatial transport in the suspended world, but movement by manipulating infants is far faster because it's quicker to move oneself between infants than teleporting after receiving the information of the destination. Currently, it doesn't take me more than a passing thought to utilize spatial transport. Instant motion, however, works in an instant with no time delay. It is a truly instantaneous form of transportation. This is accomplished by manipulating both time and space. This art can be activated just by thinking about where you want to go. With thought acceleration, that's easy as pie. Though this form of teleportation can be a bit of a strain to use when bringing multiple people with you. Rimuru is of course utilizing a normal spatial transport as he is not quite capable of performing instant motion. Still, I better get up now. The festival will truly begin tonight with the festival dinner, where all the important guests will try out some of Tempest's food while the commoners explore all the stalls that are available. I noticed Arcueid was awake now, her blood-red eyes gazing at me with an adoring glint to it. Good morning, Arcueid. Good morning, my lord. Last night was wonderful. I wish you would partake in my body more often. Haha, I would love to do that, but I don't want the others to get too jealous. Yes, maintaining a good relationship with all my lovers is important. When each of them can casually destroy a continent, I seriously don't want them going full yender on me. That would not be very fun to deal with. Arcuaid sighed. Indeed, my lord. Alright, why don't we get up now? Arcuaid nodded and quickly lifted the blanket off her and got up. Since she slept in the nude last night, I got to see her in her completely nude glory. Arcuaid noticed my gaze and smirked as she seductively sauntered towards the door. I shall be awaiting you outside, my lord. She then snapped her fingers, cleaning her body up as well as fully clothing her. I nodded. I won't be long. Sigh, well, time to get up, I guess. Today I plan to dress in my demon lord attire, seeing as tonight is simply the starting ceremony of the festival. I need to be dressed appropriately for my status as a demon lord. After that I plan to dress in my suit that I brought to Tempest for the formal events. I snapped my fingers, cleaning up the room from Arcuaid and my night along with cleaning myself up. I then dressed myself in my normal demon lord attire, a black trench coat made of the skin of an archdragon, some black pants that Shuna made for me, and a white collared shirt underneath. All of it is god grade due to soaking up the magicules in my infinity space. I look far better than Guy does. That guy pays no attention to his appearance. I better check on everyone else though. I sent out a thought communication connecting to everyone I brought with me. Are you all prepared for the festival? I asked. Ah, Felix. Where have you been? I've been so bored, I almost mug-gobbed again. I snorted after hearing Millam's reply. I was in a meeting last night and then just ended up sleeping in one of the guest rooms Rimuru has prepared. I responded. Millam immediately lost interest after hearing about a meeting. All of us are ready, master. We will not disappoint you, nor ruin your reputation. Raiden said, acting as the spokesperson for the group. That's good, but I didn't think you would do either of those. I'll meet you guys in a little bit. Very well, master. With that I cut off the thought communication and went to join Arcuaid. Everyone was gathered in the banquet hall. I was dressed in my demon lord attire, Raiden in her red dress, Sukuna in his butler outfit, Siko in her purple suit, Kurumi in her black dress, Arcuaid in her white dress, Megaman in her gold dress and Lalitina in her black formal dress. Of course Ingvild and Glenda were also present, each wearing their own dresses. We were all sat at a fairly large table at the center of the banquet hall. Millam had joined our table along with Art and Midrayi. Carrion and Frey were sat at another table, and I allowed Sophia to join them. Frey also ended up bringing her 3 daughters at some point who were also serving as Frey's attendants. I'm not quite sure who the father is, but I think it's safe to say he isn't in the picture. Her children were not all that powerful, around A rank if you pushed it. Though I wonder how strong Frey was previously. After all, whenever a non-human gives birth they lose a portion of their magicules, and Frey has given birth thrice. Sure, she might have regained her lost magicules, but that is still quite impressive to stay at the Demon Lord seed level throughout it all. Veldanava was rendered almost powerless after fathering Millam, though the effects are greater the stronger you are. And I imagine he was the strongest there was at the time. Notice. Harpy queens like Frey reproduce asexually. They do not need a male partner to produce an offspring. Oh, I didn't know that. Thanks, Odin. Rimuru's subordinates were all around the banquet hall as they will be the ones making sure that there are no interruptions or attacks. I could see Diablo from the corner of my vision, along with those other 2 demons Rimuru summoned during his harvest festival. Benamaru and Co were also all around. I could even see Hinata with those guys she introduced me to along with some other members of the Western Holy Church. She met my gaze and gave me a smile, causing everyone else at her table to look where she was gazing. Safe to say their gazes almost immediately were averted. I spotted Gazel with some of his Pegasus Knights, as well as Yum and his wife Mjurin. Rimuru had wanted to sit with us but wasn't able to due to being the host of this banquet. He needs to go around, give everyone a customary greeting. He's going to be doing a bunch of bothersome stuff. Quite a few people were looking at our group with interest and a healthy amount of fear. After all, for most this is the first time they have ever seen me. And of course the destroyer is sat next to me as well, which is bringing a lot of attention. I'm honestly surprised that so many people came knowing how many demon lords will be attending. I guess Tempest's reputation was large enough for most to be reassured of their safety. I noticed some of the attendees gazing at the women present at the table, just like I knew they would. Everyone here is extremely beautiful after all, each at the top of the world in their own way. Well, they can look but not touch. Sucks to suck. When can we eat, Felix? Asked Millam. I sighed. Just wait, Millam, Rimuru should be doing some sort of announcement soon. After that I'm sure the food will be served. Lord Felix is correct, Lady Millam, please be patient. Said Ark. Ugh, fine. She said with a pout. We watched as Rimuru stood front and center. Rimuru prepared himself before beginning his speech. Hello everyone. It is my pleasure to welcome you here today. I am, as you all know, Demon Lord Rimuru. Now I would prefer if everyone strays away from the more serious topic for tonight. There will be opportunities for talking business later on. Instead, I will direct you towards Tempest's best dishes and alcohol created in Demon Lord Felix's own territory. Each is incredible in their own way, so I hope you enjoy everything. Now, long speeches aren't a strength of mine, so excuse me for cutting this short. Now I hope everyone has a grand time. Let the party begin. Hey, who knew the slime could give speeches? Right after Rimuru finished his speech, the food was brought out. Each table had an assigned waitress that was trained especially for tonight. Along with that, beautiful elven waitresses were wandering around the halls carrying alcohol. Quite a few of the attendees were enraptured by each elf's seductive figure. Rimuru really knew how to pick them. Each elf greeted their guests with a bow, allowing for easy view of their cleavage. That, combined with the yukata, made for one hell of a sight. I could hear various praises from all around the table for all the alcoholic beverages supplied by my territory. Hopefully Arcuaid can make some deals later on. The waitress for our table approached us and bowed, leaving her cleavage bare. Though I wasn't particularly staring, after all I had far better eye candy next to me. Hello my lords and ladies. My name is Elusa. What did you wish to start with tonight? She raised her head and began taking all of our orders for what we wanted. The food was prepared by Shuna and some other chef that Rimuru recruited, so it's bound to be good. Once our orders were taken and alcohol was served, I took a look around the hall. The banquet was quite chaotic, with dignitaries from various nations all around conversing. But that had its own charm to it. I could see Rimuru going from table to table, introducing himself and having quick conversations. He really has this whole politics thing down, huh? Good on him. It didn't take long for all of our dishes to be served. Rimuru seriously went all out on this. All of these extravagant dishes were made by Shuna and that other chef too. Very impressive. Milim was the most visibly excited. Whoa. This looks good. Hee, I can't wait to try it. Please keep your decorum, Lady Milim. Pleaded Dark. Man, he really has it tough. Maybe I sentenced him to an eternity of suffering when I had Arcuaid bring him as a servant for Milim. Indeed, this looks incredible. Commented Midrayi. This is the minimum requirement when serving our lord. Declared Arcuaid, with Megaman, Lalatina, Raiden, and Siko nodding along with her. Hey, I bet I could do better. I don't know if you could, Siko. Siko has improved her cooking, but that's mostly due to her skill rather than her actual ability to cook. Whoa. This is some high-tier stuff, boss. Said Glenda. Ingvild looked quite nervous. It seems she wasn't quite used to this kind of atmosphere. Hell, I'm not either. I just don't really care what others think. Just eat however you want, Ingvild. If someone stares, just think about the fact that you could kill them with a flick of a finger. I comforted. I think I nailed it too. Ingvild nervously nodded. Indeed, my lord is correct. Utilize what I have taught you in our lessons. I looked at Arcuaid curiously. Lessons? Arcuaid nodded. Indeed, I have taken it upon myself to make sure Ingvild and Glenda know the proper etiquette so they do not embarrass you, my lord. Said Arcuaid with a proud smile on her face. Huh, well, I guess I should have expected something like that from those primordials. Each was a go-getter in their own way. Well, thanks for that. I didn't consider if such a thing was necessary. My bad, Ingvild, Glenda. Ingvild nervously waved her hands. It is no problem. It is understandable with how busy you are. I'm not that busy. In fact, I barely do any real work, but I'll take whatever excuse I can get. Glenda nodded. Yup. It's no problem, boss. Though I sensed an undercurrent of fear in Glenda. I noticed out of the corner of my eyes Arcuaid was staring at Glenda without blinking. I'll just pretend I didn't see that. There were a variety of dishes presented in front of us: smoked chicken, duck meat, and sandwiches filled with vegetables, cow deer steak, fried vegetables marinated in sauce, carriage fried chicken, roast beef salad. Each was guaranteed to please whomever consumed it. There was also a sherbet made with various fruits and refreshments. It seems Rimuru analyzed the food the guys made served at the Walpurgis, as he also had black tiger meat stew and grilled fairy leather bird. We all quickly began eating. Whoa. So good. Exclaimed Milim. Even Raiden seemed to be enjoying the food, and she was always super critical about this kind of stuff. It seems she doesn't like it when I eat anything prepared by someone else. Cute. Arcuaid of course kept her manners even as she was eating. Ever the graceful one. Lalitina and Megaman also knew the proper etiquette. It can be hard to remember sometimes, but those three are queens in their own right, each ruling a significant portion of the demon realm for eons. I noticed the people seated at the tables around us also seemed to love the food. Hey, at the very least Rimuru will win everyone over through their stomachs. Even the higher-up aristocrats were satisfied. Though it is quite amusing watching those aristocrats trying to keep their cool surrounded by various demon lords and monsters. Still, the fact that they are even trying to keep their cool shows that Rimuru has been able to get through to them, that even they agree that coexistence is possible, or else they wouldn't be putting in this much effort. Benefits be damned. Though I don't doubt that most of these aristocrats have been swayed by the sheer benefits Tempest is offering. From the new food culture to the modern roads and other inventions Tempest is making. Even the railroad idea that Rimuru brought up is practically unheard of in this world. Rimuru told me on the side that he was considering having vehicles created but decided against it due to the potential pollution. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. Tons of people in this world have the ability to just erase the smog and all the other harmful effects of pollution. But this is Rimuru's jam, so I'll leave him to it. Rimuru eventually came by our table and sat down in one of the empty seats. He groaned and flopped down onto the table. "Man, this is such a pain," he muttered. I noticed that he placed a barrier the moment he sat down, one that will isolate all the sound inside so no one will hear what we are talking about. "Looks like he's here to vent." I nodded. "Yeah, I don't know how you do it. Playing nice to a bunch of sleazy balls does not sound like something I'd want to do." "Ugh, tell me about it," said Rimuru. "I think this banquet is quite wonderful, Lord Rimuru. It gives everyone the chance to appreciate Tempest's culinary experience as well as get to know other major figures that will be attending for future deals that will undoubtedly be made during the festival," added Arcuade. "Ah, thanks Arcuade. I'm glad I'm doing something right," said Rimuru. "The food is good, Rimuru," said Milim. "Thanks, I'll pass on your praise to the chefs," replied Rimuru. Milim nodded along. "Ooh. What's that?" asked Milim. I looked towards where she was pointing and was met with a few elves rolling a fish of some kind in on a cart. The orank fish, Spiritoro, is a fish most commonly found in the ocean and is notoriously hard to catch. "So it's called a Spiritoro, huh?" "Thanks, Odin." The fish itself was quite large and had a large horn on its face. It even seemed to have some armor. "Oh, that's a Spiritoro that we plan to serve tonight. See ya, I need to make sure everything is going as planned." All of us gave Rimuru our goodbyes as he ventured back into the shark's den. Hikaru was the one cutting the fish, and he was making a show out of it too. Our waitress, Ilusa, brought us some sushi that was made using the Spiritoro. I could hear some exclamations from the other tables mentioning how the Spiritoro was a knee rank. Seafood was not very common in this world as there were multiple difficulties. For one, keeping the fish frozen was quite difficult while on carriage, and then the sea monsters that inhabit the ocean can be quite a pain for normal merchants as well. Once every table was served, Rimuru made his way back to our table, though this time he brought a guest with him. He was a sleazy-looking Japanese man. "Everyone, this is Yuki Kagorazaka, the guild master of the Free Guild," introduced Rimuru. "So this is the guy, huh?" Odin. "Already on it." Yuki gave us a bow. "Greetings to you, Demon Lord Milim, Demon Lord Felix. I'm not quite sure what exactly your subordinates' names are, so I apologize for the insult. Though that's excluding Miss Glenda there," said Yuki with an apologetic smile. "Ah, it seems that he knows Glenda then, huh? Not much of a surprise as she is one of the former 10 great saints. In fact, I'm surprised she hasn't been recognized yet, though that might be due to my other subordinates drawing more eyes. Who knows, some may have recognized her and are just keeping it to themselves for whatever reason." Glenda raised her brow challengingly. "Yuki," she greeted neutrally. "I'm quite surprised to see you at this table, Glenda," commented Yuki. Glenda scoffed. "Well, let's just say things happened." "Eh? Who's this weakling?" I sighed hearing Milim. She was likely measuring Yuki's abilities through her Milim eye, but it would be foolish to underestimate what sort of skills he could have. "I can tell he has a unique skill at the very least." "Ahaha, well, I assume when compared to your abilities almost everyone would be considered a weakling, Lady Milim," appeased Yuki. "Damn, he was good at his kissing, probably a skill he developed after being involved with politics for so long. After all, the Free Guild's funding has to come from somewhere." Milim nodded proudly. My subordinates went ahead and introduced themselves in quick succession. "It is a pleasure to meet you all," said Yuki after being introduced to my and Milim's subordinates. Rimuru then left with Yuki off to some other tables. "You get anything, Odin? I'm surprised Odin is taking so long to get an analysis on him." Notice. The individual Yuki Kagorazaka has an unusual attribute, anti-skill. Anti-skill is a spiritual attribute that can shut down magic and skills. Even ultimate skills? Correct. Dude. What the fuck? This guy can straight up negate an ultimate skill. That's one of the most bullshit abilities I've ever heard of. He should easily be able to get through any kind of barriers, can make any sort of magic or skill harmless, even or it won't be of use against him. Is there any restriction to his Odin? Answer. Anti-skill can only be applied through direct touch, and it must be active at the time. I see, so it still has some limitations. I could always jump him before he has a chance to react if I need to. Temporal manipulation can also likely affect him, seeing as how does one negate time? So is anti-skill interfering with your analysis? Correct. Even when disabled, the anti-skill attribute negates most analysis abilities based on the user's will. So the fact that Odin was even able to get anything at all is impressive. So that means Yoki can show whatever power level he wishes while suppressing the rest, and anti-skill will stop anyone from finding out. Correct. So I won't be able to copy his unique skill nearly as quickly, and it is basically impossible to analyze his anti-skill attribute at this point. Man, that sucks. I can't immediately find out if Yoki is behind the attack, it seems. Apostrophe. No need to be upset, Odin, we all have off days. Yoki's ability is just uniquely suited to keep you from gathering information. Eventually the truth will come to light, so I just need to wait. All of a sudden I noticed someone decently powerful approaching Tempest. It seems they were arriving by air. I'll be back. I told everyone at the table. I headed towards where Rimuru was chatting with some monarch of some random nation. Rimuru. I interrupted. The table I had approached immediately stopped talking and began looking at me. Some with fear, some with interest, and some with curiosity. Did you need anything, Felix? Rimuru asked formally. I nodded. Yeah, let me pull you to the side. Rimuru nodded and gave the table an apologetic smile before we left to an isolated area of the banquet hall. What's up, Felix? You wouldn't call me like this unless it's important? Questioned Rimuru. I can sense someone approaching Tempest at high speeds. It seems to be a dragon lord that is pulling a carriage of some sort. I commented. Talk about fancy, using a dragon lord as a steed is something I hadn't even considered. Rimuru's eyes widened. Dragon lord? Rimuru whispered. I sighed. Keep your composure, Rimuru, even now we have eyes on us. If they see the demon lord panicking, they will also panic. Rimuru quickly got his expression under control. Yeah, you're right. Before he could continue, Gazel interrupted us. What's going on, Rimuru? If someone is causing trouble for my junior, they'll have to deal with me. Ah, Felix said he could sense a dragon king of some kind pulling a carriage towards Tempest. Gazel's eyes widened marginally before he sighed. I think I know who your guest is. Irald has not arrived yet, has he? Rimuru shook his head. Then it is as I feared.